is available in high definition.
Well, you expect hostilities, it's already bubbled over more than it should have.
The rivalry on the field is steeped in 130-odd years of tradition.
Definitely Labor Day is one of the biggest games of the year.
The best pro sports rivalry in North America.
You have the steel working people, you have Hollywood up the street.
I've played in 5 or 6 of them, and it's such an intense game.
It's one you got to get ready for.
One, I expect it to just be an all-out war.
Something about that game that gets you riled up, you dial it up a little bit. I think they want what we have, that chip on our shoulder.
I mean, how can you have a stadium called Ivory Win Stadium and you're not really used to winning?
They can have their, metropolitan area and all that.
Who is going to win the Labor Day Classic?
The Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to win the Labor Day Classic.
People out there already know the answer to that.
Welcome to the CFL on TSN. We hope you are enjoying your Labor Day Monday from coast to coast, wherever you're looking in tonight. Dave Randorf along with Jock Climby and Matt Dunnigan and Chris Schultz. It's game 2 of our Labor Day doubleheader. The Toronto Argonauts at Hamilton. They take on the Ticats. And the Argonauts come into this game tonight with all kinds of issues swirling around them. They've traded away a quarterback. They've released a long-time veteran. They've got rumors swirling about their head coach. They've lost 2 in a row, 3 of their last 4. The defending East champs, Jock, have lost its identity, which has been its defense. Can they get it back tonight in a big statement game?
They're going to need to if they have any chance of duplicating what they did around this time last year. And folks may remember that this team was 2-6, and everyone sort of counted them out. They actually finished the season 11-7. Why? Because their defense just rose up and dominated. Now, this season, is their defense the same? Not at all. Look at this board that I came up with in my spare time. Just put the numbers together here, folks. My calculator, points allowed, way more this year compared to last year. Yards on the ground. Look at the difference in terms of their ability to stop the run. Sacks, they've given up 11 more sacks than this time last year. This defense bears very little resemblance to the defense last year. They need to stop the run, first and foremost, Matty.
Giving up 156 yards a game, and that is their mantra, to stop the run of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And how they're going to do it? With the assistance of Mike Walker, who they just brought in. Mike Walker was a perennial all-star when he played, and he still looks like he can do something. He could probably shoot up and help out the Toronto Argonauts D-line. They're going to do this, and they're going to focus on this by employing 4- and 5-man fronts, trying to get more beef up front to stop Cauley and Lumsden, and they are going to make the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and more specifically, Casey Printers, beat them with his arm.
Normally, I'd say you hire an assistant, no big deal, but Mike Walker's special. He is a former college coach, Washington State University. He will bring a new enthusiasm, a new intensity to that defensive line. I think they will improve on that specific aspect of football.
You knock heads with him a couple of times, Chelsea?
Many times. Yeah. Me and Dan Froning.
All right. Well, we'll see if it makes a difference. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are the only team, or the only wins, I should say, have come against their provincial rivals. They can sweep the Argos tonight at Ivor Wynn. Here are your starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wendy's and the Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL, Casey Printers. Last time he played in the game was July 25th. He's back under center. Kerry Joseph's back for the Argos, and we're back with the opening kick after this. Connie Vaillant of Marathon, Ontario. You could win a 2009 Nissan Titan if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game, thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you win $1 million. Good luck, Connie. Let's go to Ivor Wynn Stadium. Here are Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
And thank you, Dave. Welcome to the Hammer. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the CFL, proud home of the Grey Cup. Tigers looking to eat 'em raw tonight. Two teams that are coming off a bye week. Pre-game festivities, including a flyover here. A good crowd tonight. A spectacular night for football. Perfect day in Southern Ontario. The 40th matchup between the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts on Labor Day. The 59th Labor Day Classic in Hamilton.
All eyes on Toronto Argonaut coach Rich Stubler. Much speculation as to whether or not his job is on the line here tonight. Hopefully his team will answer the bell for him. On the other sideline, of course, Hamilton head coach Charlie Taft, 2-0 versus Toronto this season. Chance for the sweep. Who knows? It would be a big one for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a chance to move into second place.
Ticats kick it off. Labor Day, Monday Night Football in the CFL. Dominic Dorsey finds a seam. Dorsey to midfield and beyond. And what a start for the Argonauts. 3-time Special Teams Player of the Week gives Kerry Joseph and the Argos instant field position.
And it will be Kerry Joseph at quarterback. There is no longer any doubt at that spot, of course, with the trade of Michael Bishop to Saskatchewan during the bye week. Receiving corps still in flux, but they're excited to get Bethel Johnson back tonight. Keep an eye on him. He'll often line up on the same side as Arlen Bruce to take some pressure off number 5. The offensive line looking to get that run game going a little bit. They're anchored by number 65 at guard, Taylor Robertson.
Hand off right away. And going nowhere. After the 53-yard return by Dominic Dorsey, Jamal Robertson gets the first carry. Zeke Moreno kind of tweaked a hamstring over the last couple of days, stuffing Robertson.
Getting a little bit of help from the big boys up front. They've added another big body in Torrey Collins, who just joined the team this week. 285 pounds, adds a little beef up front. As you said, Rod, Zeke Moreno, the leader there. We'll see how his mobility is. He hasn't practiced the last couple of days. In the back end, Chris Thompson leading the way with 3 interceptions, including one off Kerry Joseph the last time these two teams met.
Tight end formation, but Joseph rolls to his left and finds one of his most dangerous receivers, a guy he's developed a chemistry with, Arlen Bruce.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that took a little bit of time for Kerry Joseph, and this was one of the factors in the whole quarterback controversy situation. It was a matter of letting one quarterback develop that chemistry, develop his timing with his receivers. Michael Bishop had a little bit of that last season with Arlen Bruce. Kerry Joseph needed time, needed reps. They seem to be getting that a little bit now.
First down, Robertson up the middle, brought down. And what a week it's been off the field for the Toronto Argonauts. A head coach right now feeling some heat, Rich Stubler, but knew that the quarterback situation in Toronto was untenable.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
You know, between Bish and Kerry, we had too much distraction to be a good football team, and we had to choose. You know, or I had to choose, and that was my choice, was to stay with Kerry. We just had too many things going on, which were distractions. And when you have distraction, you can't focus on the play.
Robertson again, close to a first down on 2nd down and 5. It is the K-Joe show now.
Well, and it's so interesting. You hear Rich Stubler say the situation had become untenable. The most surprising thing about this situation to most observers, myself included, is that it took this long for the Argonauts to realize that there was going to be an issue. Michael Bishop had been unhappy in the past, sitting behind Damon Allen a couple years ago. There was no reason to believe he was going to be happy sharing the job with Kerry Joseph 2 years later, especially after being the starter for a whole year.
Play action, Joseph running, scampering to the 1-yard line. Kerry Joseph, a little play action there. Getting to the red zone and almost to the goal line that time. Kerry Joseph is the Argonauts' leading rusher.
And Kerry Joseph is going to use this play action. We've seen so many teams use the same kind of scheme. He's going to get that defensive end, Naughton McKay-Losher, to bite down inside, play in the run. That opens things up around the edge, picks up a block from Jamal Robertson, his back. And this is Kerry Joseph being Kerry Joseph, running the football and lowering the boom a little bit at the end of that one.
Says he feels a little more free now, uninhibited, because he's not calling his own plays. No signal from referee Andre Prue or the officials, and so stuffed at the goal line on 1st and goal.
Well, it looked like the timing was just a little bit off on this handoff between the fullback Jeff Johnson and quarterback Kerry Joseph. Johnson got a little bit ahead of him there on his motion. Joseph had to stay with it a little bit longer.
2nd down and goal now. Robertson in the backfield again with Johnson. Robertson gets the handoff, and he gets the touchdown. Impressive start for the Argos tonight here in Hamilton.
For a Toronto team that has struggled to put up points and put together drives all season long, this is a very important start. Aside from the obvious points it gives them on the board, this adds so much confidence to a team that needed a good start here.
7-play, 47-yard drive to be converted now by Mike Vanderjack. Ate up 3 minutes on the clock, but it was all set up by Dominic Dorsey's 53-yard return. 7-0 Boatman. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, the Canadian how-to people. Jamal Robertson, 4th touchdown of the season. Argos off to a flying start here. The Labor Day Classic. Trey Smith back now for the Tiger Cats. Bobbles it, picks it up. Still on his feet. Smith at the 35, and finally smothered by the Argos. And back in the lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Casey Printers.
Yeah, Casey Printers still not 100% coming back from that thumb injury, which he suffered here against Edmonton a few weeks back. But he's got to give it a go. He knows at some point he's got to play and try and let this thing recover on the fly. In his receiving core, Priche Rodriguez has stepped up. Chris Bauman finding his way a little bit. Of course, on the offensive line, with the release of Marco Kavka, that starting guard spot is all in the hands of Peter Diakowski, the Canadian.
Twin backs today, Terry Cawley and Jesse Lumsden. This one up for grabs. Willie Middlebrooks has it. And there's a penalty flag, and this might be a push-off by the Hamilton receiver. Casey Printers' first toss from scrimmage picked off. Let's wait for the call from Andre Prue.
Pass interference. Toronto number 23. First down.
Willie Middlebrooks pushing off. And so the Tiger Cats move the yardsticks here. Let's take another look.
And keep watching to the right side of your screen as Casey Printers rolls out, and he throws this one up. Bit of a jump ball because he knows he's got 6'5" Priche Rodriguez out there. Little push off by Middlebrooks to get a little bit of room. Probably a good call when you're giving up some height.
So the interception negated. Argonauts with their Stubler defense through the years that has been impenetrable, but not so far this season. In fact, against the run, not very good. They line up in a 3-4, but don't be surprised to see a 40 at some time here tonight.
Yeah, certainly expect to see Ronald Flemons on that D-line. Of course, the changes on the back end, which we'll talk about along the way.
Tony Miles, the former Argo, knocked out of bounds. There are a number of ex-Argos, ex-Ticats who know all about this rivalry playing tonight, including this guy, Tony Miles.
Yeah, Tony Miles, a guy who started his career in Hamilton and after a year made his way to Toronto for 5 more. Back in black and gold, and he'll be an important target for Casey Printers tonight. And Tony Miles, another one, along with Jesse Lumsden and Casey Printers, returning to this lineup after missing a couple weeks with injury.
Cawley still in the backfield. No Jesse Lumsden yet for the Cats. Printers over the middle. And the catch is made by Priche Rodriguez. That was a bullet from Casey Printers.
Here you see Perche Rodriguez. He's going to work downfield and then try to get to the inside on Willie Middlebrooks. Big body does a nice job shielding Middlebrooks from the ball. Nicely thrown ball by Casey Printers as well, keeping it down inside where only his receiver has a shot at getting that thing.
Again, Printers has said that he's had problems with that right thumb, still trying to come back from it. It is not 100%. In fact, he says he doesn't want to bang another helmet. Jesse Lumsden's in the game, but it's the option. The toss to Cawley. Cawley spins, hit hard. And you can expect a few crushing hits out there. Cawley, big gain there. Jesse Lumsden in the backfield on that play will go to the sideline. But before this game, this was Jesse Lumsden.
No excuses. 60 minutes, non-stop football. There's no reason why we can't beat anybody in this league. It starts now. Damn right. We get a long break. We get started. Very first kickoff return, blow somebody up. Who's going to be the first to do it? Who's going to be the first to do it? Bring it on. Let's go.
Lumsden again coming back from the high ankle sprain, and so Terry Cawley is getting a lot of the reps early on here. The last time that Jesse Lumsden played against the Argos, though, remember back then, he shredded the Argo D.
Well, that was when the panic started in Argo land, was when Jesse Lumsden ran wild in week 2. A Hamilton Tiger Cat victory against this Toronto defense, and that's where the concern all started. Toronto Argonauts are going to put a lot of emphasis on trying to shut down Jesse Lumsden, Terry Cawley in this run game tonight, but they're going to have their hands full.
Play action to Cawley. Printers flushed out of the pocket to Chris Bauman, and that's another Hamilton first down. To the red zone go the Tiger Cats.
Nice patience here from Casey Printers in the pocket. Just buying time, staying alive, waiting for something to come open. A little bit of play action. That pocket collapses, uses a little bit of mobility, but keeps his eyes downfield. Instead of panicking, trying to take off with the football, Chris Bauman gets his attention by the sidelines for an easy first down.
Again, Cawley in the backfield, carries the mail again. Cawley breaks one tackle and squirts ahead for 9, maybe 9.5 yards here. And this is a very interesting scenario with Terry Cawley and Jesse Lumsden, two guys who like to carry the ball. This is what Terry Cawley did the last time the Argos and Cats met.
Yeah, Terry Cawley was outstanding playing that tailback spot in place of Jesse Lumsden. Cawley went over 100 yards, couple of touchdowns. Very productive player himself. We always talk about Jesse Lumsden averaging over 7 yards a crack. Cawley's been up over 8 yards a carry this season. Just outstanding.
Jeff Piercy gets the call, the fullback. Depending on the spot here, will the yardsticks move? It was second and a long yard. It is a first down, so it will be first and goal for Hamilton. Another thing to watch here, Casey Printers, since he's really come to the Tiger Cats, has struggled to be the Casey Printers we know and knew from the BC Lions. This season, Casey Printers has yet to throw a touchdown pass.
Well, here's a great opportunity for Casey Printers. It'll be interesting to see what Marcel Belfait has up his sleeve for his quarterback, but the run game has been their strength down here.
Up the middle again. Down to the 4-yard line. Again, Terry Cawley. So we're seeing a lot of Terry Cawley here, and I'm sure the Argos probably prepared a lot for Jesse Lumsden knowing he was coming back, but it might suggest to you as well that Jesse Lumsden may not be 100%. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and the other thing that is a little bit of a suggestion of the health of Jesse Lumsden is the fact that not only is Terry Cawley dressed and getting a lot of carries, Trey Smith, another American tailback, is also dressed for this game. They haven't often dressed all three of those guys this season.
Printers again. Will scramble, dives forward, touchdown! Why throw when you can do that? His 5th major score of the season.
This is the sort of athleticism that the fans here at Ivor Wynn expect to see from their quarterback, Casey Printers. Lines up in shotgun here. He's looking past, looks to that strong side flat. Didn't come open. Printers right away just looks to make a play and gets it done. Outstanding second effort to lunge for that goal line as the tackle is being made.
Able to split Michael Fletcher and Kevin Ivan. So the Cats on the run answer back. 7-all. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by the 2008 GMC Sierra Professional Grade. 7-7 to start. Casey Printers scampers for the touchdown. What he does best, says he is the playmaker. Interesting formation on the kickoff return here for the Argos.
Well, teams obviously are going to try and kick away from Dominique Dorsey, depending which side he lines up on. By lining up in that stack, the Argos won't declare which side he'll be on, making it tough for teams to directionalize.
He is so dangerous. Penalty flags fly. Dorsey brought down at the 29-yard line after almost getting sprung earlier.
On this touchdown, Casey Printers made this one look like it was a draw play, but what he was looking for was Tony Miles in the flat. That's his initial read. The route is very well covered by the Argos. They do a nice job getting to that route. So Casey Printers just adapts on the fly. You see him look to that right side, covered, make a play. A little bit of room up the middle, and he takes off. Good vision, good reaction from the Hamilton quarterback.
We had a very candid conversation with Casey yesterday. Very revealing in what he wants to do here in Hamilton. Dorsey. His first handoff of the game and close to a first down. There was a penalty on the kickoff return, an illegal block, but they'll move the yardsticks again. So Dominic Dorsey, along with Jamal Robertson, kind of what the Hamilton Tiger Cats here. We might see a lot of running here tonight in this game.
But you expect that with these two teams. The Argonauts obviously have had that trouble against the run, but Hamilton's defense has had some issues of its own. You look at Dominic Dorsey, the weapon he's been, of course, they'll try and put that ball in his hands.
Shovel pass. Dorsey sprints out. Great play by Kerry Joseph. He used to utilize that a lot when he broke into the Canadian Football League in Ottawa.
Josh Ronick was his battery mate for a couple of years in Ottawa, and that was a bread and butter play for them. Now we see him getting an opportunity to do that. Always got to have some creative plays from the shotgun other than just throwing the ball downfield. We talked about the creativity on the fly from Casey Printers. Clearly that's not exactly the way it was drawn up for Kerry Joseph, but making plays. You see a little bit more composure from Joseph. Just relaxation back there.
Play action now. Joseph rush in. Andre Talbot has running room here. Talbot high steps down to the 30. Kerry Joseph avoids the rush. Delivers to Andre Talbot, and a huge gain for the Argos.
Nice job here by Kerry Joseph, because this play is going to take time to develop. Andre Talbot's got to fight around some traffic coming from the short side all the way to the wide side. Joseph hangs in, takes a hit to make the play. Andre Talbot with some good yak yards, just outrunning defenders across the field.
Joaquin Bradley making the tackle. Maybe a touchdown-saving tackle there. Close to the red zone now. Handoff again. More running room for Robertson to the 12-yard line. Dorsey, back-to-back handoffs. Robertson gets a lot of the carry on this half of the football field, so the twin backs working well as well for the Argos.
And this is where what will make Kerry Joseph more effective as well, is getting that running game going. We talk often about how it'll slow down the defensive line and buy him time in that pass game, but when you've got a quarterback with the mobility of Kerry Joseph, when you can do some things with bootleg and play action and let him run around off some run fakes, it opens up a whole new world in your offensive playbook.
Looking to the end zone. Wanting a penalty flag was Bethel Johnson, who returns to the lineup for the Argos after missing 6 games with a high ankle sprain, the former New England Patriot and 2-time Super Bowl champion.
And here they get Johnson matched up one-on-one on the short side against Lawrence Gordon. Gordon sits back, makes contact. Pretty good coverage on the play. Really, Bethel Johnson was the man who initiated contact on that play as he tried to gain a little bit of separation between he and Gordon.
Reggie McNeil, former quarterback, 4th-string quarterback for the Argos at one time this year, is wide left. Over the middle. Almost had it picked off, and Mike Vanderjack will have to come out now as The Argos have their drive stall here. Couldn't find Dominic Dorsey over the middle.
Well, the Argos are going to have to settle for a shot at 3, but some encouraging signs from this Toronto offense in the early going. A couple of solid drives, of course, aided by the special teams play, the field position provided, at least on the first possession, by Dominic Dorsey. They've got that run game going. Kerry Joseph spreading the ball around to different receivers. It's as good as the Argos have looked offensively.
Vanderjagt from the Ticat, 20.5. The Argos have a 10-7 lead with 3:19 to go in the opening quarter. 10-7 Toronto. First quarter. Let's go down to the sidelines now and join our reporter joining us on the Labor Day Classic tonight, Sarah Orlesky.
Thanks so much, Rod. I'm joined by Commissioner Cohan. We always talk about history and tradition with the CFL, and that seems to be what these Labor Day Classics really embody.
Yeah, absolutely. This is part of the fabric of our country, and that's what's so fun. And these fans are what are so fun. You know, they make the interview a lot of fun, too.
It's been such a great first half for the league, whether it be attendance, television, the quality of the games themselves. How, as a league, do you build on that heading into the second half?
It's amazing. Canadians are really rallying around this league. We had 3 sellouts this weekend. It's almost sold out here. And we're doing new things like a retro week. So September 12th, we're celebrating the Mud Bowl between the Bombers and the Argos. We're doing other things where fans can actually vote for the Future's Top CFL All-Stars. So there's tons of things that fans can do to really build this league.
Thanks so much for this.
Thank you.
Well, it is the start of September. In many ways, the end of summer for some people. Back to school tomorrow. And it's also for many teams the start of the real season, the second half. 2 teams in dire need of victory here tonight. And we've seen them march down the field every time they've had the ball so far. Vanderjagt the boot. Trey Smith again. And another interesting subtext to this tonight is 2 quarterbacks who have something to prove.
Well, they sure do. You're looking at 2 former most outstanding players in the Canadian Football League, and Kerry Joseph and Casey Printers. You look at the numbers for Casey Printers this season, still looking for his first touchdown pass. So there certainly is plenty for Casey Printers to prove. Off to a good start, but can he sustain it? We've seen flashes at times this season. We really haven't seen it for an entire game from Casey Printers, especially through the air.
Kickoff will repeat the kickoff.
So they're going to repeat the kickoff here. Offside on the kick by Vanderjagt. So to bring the kick team out again, and the Ticats obviously hoping that they can get a little better field position here for Printers.
Of course, you gain 5 yards on the penalty in terms of field position right away, assuming the kick is the same depth, but you also hope you can get 11 pretty tired guys running down there. We won't count the kicker because I don't think he's really going to run.
There's Trey Smith and Terry Cawley. 3-point Hamilton lead, Toronto lead. Hamilton trying to answer now. They get the ball for the second time. Smith behind, blocking, but really the same area where the Cats were going to start the first time. And so Casey Printers back at it again with something to prove tonight.
Before I went to the NFL, my mindset was playmaker mode. It was just, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to make a play, period. It doesn't matter if the guys get open. If I hold the ball too long and I miss the throw, miss the read, I'm going to make it happen. Well, here, I've been more trusting of the play development rather than me just being in playmaker mode.
PA announcer just saying, welcome back, Jesse Lumsden. Welcome back, Casey Printers, too, as they get 2 integral parts of their future and their offense back here tonight.
Yeah, and you heard Casey Printers talk about being in that playmaker mode. That's exactly what we saw on that first possession, whether it was scrambling, shuffling to his side a little bit, looking downfield for that completion to Chris Bauman, or the touchdown. just adapting on the fly, looking to make a play instead of getting stuck on the route.
Lumsden for the first down. So Pauly got the touches in the first drive. Jesse Lumsden comes here in the second drive. Back-to-back Lumsden and another Hamilton first down.
And Hamilton's offense performed admirably when you consider that for the last couple of games they played without Tony Miles at receiver, without Casey Printers, without Jesse Lumsden. Now to come in on Labor Day, hopefully keep these guys healthy for the second half of the season, but to get those guys back, those are key elements of the Hamilton offense. Obviously, that's your quarterback and your running back, the guys who are going to touch the ball the most for you.
Once again, number 2-8. Lumsden has had his share of injuries the last couple of seasons. Of course, the shoulder injury last year, ankle and knee this year, the high ankle sprain. We've heard a lot more about those high ankle sprain injuries, but so far, Lumsden, after what we've seen on this drive, looks like he's back and he's healthy. There's what he's done so far this season. And he is in the lineup. He is a main piece of the offense. Not find Chris Bauman that time. Tight coverage from Willie Pyle, so that will bring the kick team out for the Ticats.
An opportunity here for the Tiger Cats to pin the Argonauts in deep. It would have been nice for Casey Printers, Jesse Lumsden, obviously to answer that Toronto drive and put some points on the board. This one looks like it has the potential to be a shootout.
Best punter in the Canadian Football League so far this season will try to angle one. Dominic Dorsey cornered. Penalty flag. We'll get the call when we come back to Hamilton and Iverwin Stadium. Another Labor Day Classic on TSN. Well, a new era in sports has arrived. The launch of TSN2. More games, more sports, more choice. For example, right now on TSN2, you can catch exclusive coverage of the U.S. Open Tennis live from New York. TSN2. Contact your television service provider to subscribe or visit tsn2.ca for more information. And exactly what Dwayne Ford talked about before we went to break. The Argos have the ears pinned back here thanks to the set a kick and a subsequent penalty on an illegal block. And only 41 seconds to go in the opening quarter. The Argos with a 3-point lead. 59th edition of the Labor Day Classic. You've played in a few Labor Day games. You know what this is all about.
Emotions are high, no question about it.
Nowhere to go. Zeke Moreno and Ray Marius. Linebacking core. Zeke Moreno's numbers a little bit down this year. That could also be a result of the fact that last year Zeke Moreno was kind of an unknown. A lot of people, that defense was on the field a lot last year for Hamilton too.
Yeah, certainly being tested a lot more last season. Not quite as much this year. You see Zeke Moreno not on pace to lead the league in tackles, but when you are a defensive player, sometimes that is a nice thing, as you alluded to.
Last play, first quarter, open and knocked away beautifully by Lawrence Gordon. Otherwise, Andre Talbot would have had another big gainer. That's the final play of this opening quarter. The Argonauts leading the Tiger Cats 10-7 on Labor Day Monday. Argos have the advantage after one quarter. Our Tim Hortons first quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
And relatively even so far. You see a little bit of an edge for the Toronto Argonauts in terms of passing yardage, but both teams running a similar number of offensive plays, controlling the clock, putting drives together a little bit. These defenses have struggled a little bit at times so far this season, so this game does have a real opportunity to be a little bit of a shootout.
One team, the Argos, who obviously two teams that haven't played in a while, but one team that has gone through a lot, even though they haven't played in the last couple of weeks. The trade of Michael Bishop and the release of Orlando Steinauer, the classy all-star veteran, being with the Argos for 13 years, given his pink slip this week.
Yeah, and this is another factor that you have to consider when you think about what could go on for Hamilton offensively here. The Toronto Argonauts are playing not just Kenny Wheaton moving over from halfback into Orlando Steinauer's safety spot, but he's flanked by two relatively inexperienced players in Jason Shivers and Kenny Heatley at the halfback spots. Willie Middlebrook is a CFL rookie on one corner. This is a secondary that, in terms of their positions, has been overhauled in 4 out of 5 spots since last season. Mistakes are going to happen.
Speaking of safeties, Vanderjagt takes the knee and gives them 2 points, and so it's 10-9. Rich Stubler had a very difficult decision to make to release a guy he was very close to.
Orlando's like my son. I mean, he and I have been through a lot of tough times. We started there, and when I came up, and when I was a part-time guy, and we went through the bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff, and he and I have always been close, not only as a coach player, but also personally. And so it was a very difficult thing, you know.
Rich Stubler, a report suggesting that if the Argos don't win tonight, Rich Stubler could also find himself out of the head coaching job here. But the Argos with 3 rookies in their secondary, and suddenly Kenny Wheaton is the safety. The last time he played safety 10 years ago with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a change for Kenny Wheaton, but Wheaton's a pro, and from his perspective, this isn't something that's entirely new to him. In certain schemes, because of the way the secondary rotates, Kenny Wheaton is essentially lined up as the free safety at times in the past. The reason he's moved, the guy who's chosen to move to this spot, he's a little more physical player, a little bit better run defender, they felt, than Orlando Steinauer, and that is a priority for this Argonaut team right now.
So knee to knee, a safety, and now a single point the other way. Cauley saw it bounce over his head, and so make the score now 11-9, but this is what Kenny Wheaton brings.
You see Kenny Wheaton laying licks. Here's the biggest on Jason French of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's made a highlight reel with physical play over his CFL career. Now they're looking to put that presence in the middle of their defense. And Kenny Wheaton says it himself, I'm not going to be Orlando Steinauer. I'm going to play it a little bit differently than he will. He's a more physical player, more downhill player, meaning he's going to play the run a little bit more.
Printers looking to run, lets it go, but a one-hopper on the 55-yard line. But the rookies as well for the Argonauts, including Jason Shivers, who makes his debut at DB tonight.
Yeah, and even Willie Middlebrooks on that corner, his 7th CFL game, 29 years old, but first year in the Canadian Football League. Kenny Heatley, same thing, his 7th game. You look at Orlando Steinauer by comparison, they give up a whole lot of experience at a position where experience is a valuable commodity.
Shivers has been taken in by Kenny Wheaton, come from the same hometown. And look out now, Printers out of the pocket, gets a first down and more. Well, that's twice now that Casey Printers has taken off with the football with some success.
The Toronto Argonauts bring the blitz here. You're going to see Kenny Wheaton, the free safety, motions up. He's going to time this one up to the snap count. Hits it running, lost in the protection scheme. Casey Printer sees it coming from both sides and just steps up and goes. There's that playmaker mode he talked about. Don't get too hung up on exactly what the playbook says to do. Sometimes you just got to be creative and make a play.
Now Lumsden, the battering ram. Head down, that upright running style. It's around 4 or 5 yards, right on the midfield stripe here.
Well, one of the things that may emerge for the Hamilton Tiger Cats out of Jesse Lumsden having been injured and Terry Cauley coming in and having such great success is the confidence that the team has in Cauley, and maybe the recognition of the fact that they can use both these guys and have both of them become more effective. There are people who have been concerned about Jesse Lumsden's durability. He's had some injuries over the last couple of seasons. You not only keep Jesse Lumsden fresh, but you also have a chance to wear down opposing defense by always having a fresh back.
Printers head down. Good thing he did, because Kevin Ivan had the bullseye on him. Kevin Ivan back in the Argo linebacking core.
We've seen Casey Printers do this a few times already here today, and it's keeping the Toronto Argonaut defense off balance. Using his legs to make plays again. Feels a little bit of pressure, keeps the eyes downfield. Just takes off to move the chains.
Casey Printers said he learned a lot on the sidelines watching Richie Williams, the Hamilton backup who had some success as a starter. A bullet again. And another Hamilton first down. Tony Miles, who Casey Printers says he'd like to kind of get that chemistry that he had in BC when he was there with G. Roy Simon and Jason Claremont in the crew.
And one of the things Tony Miles brings to this offense, the obvious one is experience. The other side that goes right along with that is just his recognition, the cerebral side of the game, recognizing coverages, understanding time and space, where to be and when he needs to be there for his quarterback to make that throw.
Lumsden again with room off the right edge. Jesse Lumsden to the 20, to the 15 and more. And that's what he did in the first meeting of the season.
I'll tell you, I saw Jesse Lumsden yesterday after practice, and I thought he still looked like he was limping a little bit with that bad ankle, coming off the high ankle sprain. But watch the stutter step on the outside here, a couple little jukes to bounce that one to the outside. He's got that same Jesse Lumsden bounce, same Jesse Lumsden acceleration. That ankle doesn't look like it's bothering him one bit when he gets going.
You're right. Now to the red zone. What a block on Real Johnson to give the edge to Lumsden. Printers looks to the air, goes to the corner of the end zone, wide open, touchdown, Bauman!
And Casey Printers has himself a touchdown pass.
It took a while, but finally has one. And Charlie Taft says, I'm hoping that's the beginning of more.
Well, he's got Chris Bauman, the big 6'5" target, going on that corner route. He's got all kinds of room. He's working on a linebacker, Willie Pyle. They get the mismatch. Printers recognizes it. Leads his receiver perfectly. Bauman, nice job to keep pumping his arms to run to that ball. He could have been overthrown a little bit, but he'd been running with his arms out. He might not have gotten there, but he kept pumping the arms.
Bauman got his first ever CFL touchdown in their last meeting. He now has his second. Something about the Argos. These Cats have their number this season. Casey Printers' first passing touchdown of 08. To Chris Bauman. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats move ahead now 16-11. 10.5 minutes to go before halftime.
We talk offensively about the need for Jesse Lumsden to produce, Casey Printers to produce, Tony Miles to produce. Chris Bauman's another guy. Second-year player, the first overall pick in the 07 draft. The guy they need to start stepping up and making some plays for them, and he's beginning to show that.
Robertson bobbled it, got it back, and look out now. Jamal Robertson made a whole lot out of nothing. Lost the football, got it back, and another outstanding return for the Argos.
I just want to take a quick second and go back and take a look at this touchdown. Chris Bauman lines up as your inside receiver here. He's going to run a corner route, but what sets up this route is going to be your outside receiver. He runs a short route that holds the corner down low, close to the line of scrimmage. That means Willie Pyle, the linebacker covering Bauman, has no help back to that corner. You see, he got frozen flat-footed thinking someone would be there. That other route helped him out. Helped Bauman out perfectly, meaning that nobody else could drop deep to support Willie Pyle on that route.
Dominic Dorsey has nowhere to go this time. The first play from scrimmage on this drive for the Argos.
Just a simple zone run play. The Tiger Cats swarming to the football. Seems like a little bit of energy has been injected into this Hamilton team after that touchdown pass from Casey Printers.
Sig Morel, another tackle here tonight. Throwing down now for Kerry Joseph. The The guy he's connected with a few times here tonight. Second catch actually for Arland Bruce. To the 50-yard line. Another good gain for the Argos.
And Arland Bruce remains the go-to guy in this receiving corps. Just a little hook route, pushes his defender. Chris Thompson deep, tells him that he's going on a deep route. And breaks back, comes back to the football.
Arland Bruce has been a busy guy with Kerry Joseph at the helm. You wonder now with Bethel Johnson back that Arland Bruce might not see as many double teams. Dorsey trying to get around the edge. There's a penalty flag. Got to the 49-yard line. This one looks like it's coming back.
Holding. Toronto, number 57. 10-yard penalty. First over.
Ryan Ramsey the call, but Arland Bruce, he is one of the biggest weapons for the Argonauts. 3 touchdowns this season.
And you see those 40 catches. Andre Talbot is the only other Toronto receiver who even has more than 20 catches on the season. They've relied on these two veterans so much, and there have been other people in and out of the lineup. Bruce gets a little bit of help now with Bethel Johnson. They're going to likely line those two up on the same side a lot of times so that teams can't double team Arland Bruce quite as often when they've got a good speed guy like Johnson with him.
6-pack of receivers now on 1st and 20. Lots of time for Joseph. Decides to take off with it. Little tightrope down the sideline. Just past the original first down marker. A lot of time here. A lot of protection for Kerry Joseph, and decided to take off with it.
He decided to take off largely because he was looking primarily to his left. But you see, over on the other side of the field, the right side had a couple receivers, particularly Arland Bruce, wide open on their seam routes.
Second down. Joseph in trouble. Brought down. Zeke Moreno having one of his biggest games of the season so far.
Zeke didn't look like the hamstring bothered him one bit on that one. May not be racking up quite as many tackles as we're used to. But Zeke Moreno is happy to get a sack on this one. Just slides off the block of the center, Chad Folk. Folk had to bump off to someone else. He expected a switch with his guard. It didn't happen. Zeke Moreno ended up coming free on the play.
Mike Vanderjagt now from his 40. End over ender to Trey Smith. Trying to find a lane. KC Printers and the Tiger Cats will scrimmage from the 30 with a 5-point lead in the second quarter in Hamilton. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. When you're in the zone, time almost stands still. Getting into the zone begins with Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. Hamilton Tiger Cats, who have reeled off 3 straight wins if you include the preseason over the Toronto Argonauts this year, have won the season series already. Looking to bring out the brooms. They haven't been able to beat anybody else in the league, however. Lots of time here. 7.5 to go second quarter. Terry Cawley into the game. So it appears that Charlie Taff is kind of mixing and matching Cawley and Lumsden on possessions.
And he's got 2 backs who can be very effective, and the physical running isn't strictly the domain of Jesse Lumsden. He's the bigger back, but Terry Cawley's got that low center of gravity. He can bounce off some people and keep his balance as well, as you saw in that last run.
Jeff Piercy in at fullback. There's Cawley again. Out of UConn. Played 8 games last year with the Cats. Made an impression. Here he goes again. Second down and short yardage, but this one's going to depend on this spot. They might be a little shy here. And Andre Proulx will bring out The chains. Two embattled coaches, two beleaguered teams. Argonauts 3-5, Charlie Taft's Cats 2-6. Both teams saying this is must-win time.
Well, you set the tone for the next few weeks based on what you do here. You're coming off a bye week. You're getting formerly injured players back in your lineup. You don't really have excuses anymore. You're healthy. You're fresh. Now's the time to get it done. Play ball. This is the team you hope you have the rest of the way.
Fans voicing their displeasure right now because on 3rd and short, Charlie Taft has brought out his weapon, Nick Seta. Best punter in the Canadian Football League right now, but the fans wanted them to go after it on 3rd down, and Casey Printers did too.
Yeah, the look on Casey's face said it all.
Seta. You always have to watch out for this guy. That's the problem. Dorsey finds room. Dominic Dorsey to midfield. Seta's the lone man back. Seta pushes him out of bounds. And now the crowd really letting the Cats know about that decision. Labor Day always brings back some memories and brings back some greats. Tommy Joe Coffey, one of the great Cats, one of the great CFLers of all time, a receiver and a kicker, the great number 75. Also played down the road as well. He knows about Labor Day battles. Tommy Joe Coffey is with our Sarah Orleski.
Thanks so much, Rod. Tommy Joe, when you played in the 1960s and early 1970s, can you just talk a little bit about how the atmosphere differs today than what it did when you played for these games?
Well, I think the atmosphere is probably a little greater today because of the hype behind it, because of the vast improvement in broadcasting and media coverage. More people in the country today are more interested in football than they were back when I played.
How important do you think these Labor Day games are to building new fans and kind of recognizing the history of the CFL as well?
Well, as a player, and as this may not be the popular decision of choice, I didn't care whether it was Labor Day or Christmas Day or New Year's Day or tomorrow or yesterday or last week. And I doubt very seriously if these people do either that are playing today. But because of the hype amongst the fans and the media, they become involved. But I don't think probably these guys care whether they win this game any more than they did last week or next week.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Kerry Joseph connects with Arland Bruce again. And the crowd here not happy. Let's go back a little bit, Dwayne, and it's so nice to see Tommy Joe Coffey. Let's go back a little bit here. Go back to the decision that was made by Charlie Taft. Right decision, wrong decision in your mind. You've got Jesse London, Jeff Piercy, Terry Cawley. You could go to Richie Williams or Casey Printers at 3rd and short.
Well, this is a decision that was made not by the down and distance, but by the field position. And deep in his own end, Charlie Taft chose to kick that ball away. If he had any idea it was going to be a 51-yard punt followed by a 48-yard return, a net gain of 3 yards, I'm sure he'd have just gone for it.
Joseph to the end zone. And it cost them big time. Arland Bruce with the touchdown. And Arland Bruce donning a little headgear here.
He's got a little something up his sleeve.
Well, they got a penalty on this, so he's Spider-Man. Chad Johnson of the Canadian Football League. Spider-Man.
Maybe he's going to change his name to Cinco the Third.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a penalty on that. Spider-Man makes his presence felt in the end zone. I must say, I've seen it all. The Calgary Stampeders set the standard for excessive celebration. We saw cell phones in the Canadian Football League and all the other, or the National Football League and all the other stuff. Popcorn even in the Canadian Football League. Spider-Man. My spidey senses are tingling. 18-16, Argos.
Let's talk internet. What should you look for?
A water skiing squirrel.
Sweet Tai Chi moves?
Oh, ex-boyfriends.
Wrong, wrong, and Mr. Wrong. What you should look for is free. Where can we find that?
The Holiday Inn?
What would you say if I had showed you a picture of a coconut?
Probably say coconut, then Holiday Inn.
Must be tiring lugging around that giant brain, Mr. Dowd.
The more you stay, the more you earn. Holiday Inn.
Well, Rich Stubler, I'm sure, is telling Arlen Bruce that he probably doesn't want to see that again.
But surprisingly, Rich Stubler's telling him with a smile on his face.
Spider-Man. There it is. They kissed and made up. And Adriano Belli was nowhere to be found. Arlen Bruce, a.k.a. Spider-Man, with the touchdown, and the Argos go ahead by 2. Bruce with his 4th touchdown of the season. I'm not sure if anybody knew it. It looked like a couple of those receivers might have been in on it as well, but Harry Joseph, I don't know. He's not sure about that.
Well, you know, he needed a little bit of help from his buddies because there was no phone booth to go change.
Yeah, I was going to say. So now the Tiger Cats trying to respond now. Good return from Trey Smith close to the midfield stripe. We've seen a lot of big returns. This touchdown set up by Dominic Dorsey and the decision by the Cats. But let's see what Spidey did.
Arlen Bruce lines up as the number 2 receiver on this one. He's basically just running a flat route. But what helps him out is he gets the clearing route from Andre Talbot on the outside. That takes the cornerback with Talbot. There's nobody there, as Bruce turns out. Nobody there to help the halfback, Chris Thompson. That gives Arlen Bruce lots of room to work.
Just over 5 minutes to go before halftime. A lot of offense so far from both sides. Crossing pattern. And a big gain here for the Ticats. Riche Rodriguez. That was a well-executed play by Hamilton.
And Rodriguez is a guy who's really come into his own over the last few weeks. Connected both with Casey Printers before Printers' injury and then with Richie Williams. Here you see the big target on the crossing route. It's not hard to find him as he runs behind those offensive and defensive linemen.
The guy who just started playing football not too long ago. Basketball star turned football player. Still looking for his first CFL touchdown. Printers goes for Rodriguez but overthrows him, and there's a penalty flag, and it likely is going to go, well, where it is, I thought for sure it was a holding call, and it is a holding call against Hamilton. Talked about Rodriguez not getting a touchdown yet. Not one import receiver for the Tiger Cats has a touchdown yet this season.
Well, and they knew that was an area, I don't want to call it of weakness, but it's certainly an area of inexperience.
Hamilton, number 69, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
We'll just take a quick look at the holding penalty here on the tackle. Jonta Woodard is the man they called. He's your left tackle. You see him get the hands on the outside on Real Johnson.
First down and 20 yards. Play action. Printers stumbled, almost lost the football. And it's going to set up another throwing down here. Second down and almost 15 yards to go. Casey Printers has done it with his feet here tonight, but the Argos are quickly closing in on him.
And we're seeing right now a little bit of the change in defensive philosophy of this Toronto Argonaut team. You've got a second and long situation, 2nd and 13 or 14, but they've got 4 down linemen playing a 4-man front in a passing situation.
And that's an offside on one of those down linemen. Jonathan Brown. Something that the Argos just did not go to in the last few years when Rich Stubler was their defensive coordinator. And look at this. They're saying it goes against the Tiger Cats. Procedure call.
Procedure. Hamilton, number 1. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Against Casey Printers, so second in another area code now.
They call Casey Printers for the procedure call. Could be that old head bob, perhaps, drawing the defenders offside.
4 down linemen again. Here's the rush. Printers. Ball is loose and the whistle blows. And that time Casey Printers was lucky that he wasn't dusting himself off. Big rush by the Argos, and so the Cats will have to kick it away.
The Argos didn't bring the house on this one. They managed to get pressure with what they brought. You're going to see the pocket collapse on Printers here. Kevin Iben came from the backside. Big Ronald Flemings from the front. Riel Johnson was in there. Printers was just unable to get rid of that football.
3:22 to go before halftime. Nick Setta most assuredly will try to angle one here. Try to get it to the corner. Oh, what a kick. That's why he's the leading punter in the Canadian Football League. And this will put the Argos in the shadows of their goalposts.
A terrific call with the direction from Nick Setta. Perfectly placed kick. Also the fact that he never gave Dominique Dorsey a chance to field the ball. Most teams kick to the short side of the field. In that case, Hamilton was on the left hash. Dorsey, anticipating the kick to the short side, lines up on the same hash. Nick Setta made the call to go wide side with it. So Dorsey is unable to get there even to field the ball in the air, so it's just a matter of placement for Setta, and that time it was perfect.
We saw Dave Easley there, special teams coordinator. Also a guy who used to be with the Argos. A lot of connections here. Guys who played with the Argos or were on coaching staffs. The Hamilton Tiger Cat general manager, Bob Obilovich, of course, longtime Argo head coach. A lot of connections and a lot of bad blood still between these two teams. Joseph out of the backfield's Dorsey. Dominic Dorsey scoots to the 40, to midfield. Dorsey, will he be caught? Yes, but after a huge gain. Just like that, the Argos with an 81-yard gain. What a night for Dominic Dorsey.
So you consider yourselves business travelers, huh? Well, meet the legend, Joe Polsky. He once did 18 straight sales calls on nothing but a pillow mint. He actually trademarked his handshake, the Polsky Pump.
Did he ever get 2,000 bonus points for staying 2 nights at a Holiday Inn?
Maybe 2 Major League Baseball tickets for staying 8 nights?
No, but he once had a heart attack, woke up, and sold the paramedics 12 dozen steak knives. That was Polsky.
The more you stay, the more you earn. Holiday Inn.
Well, Wendy's kick for $1 million is back. The contest ends on Sunday. 2 kickers, Western Canada, 2 kickers, Eastern Canada, go head-to-head for all those great prizes, including $1 million. Already 2 million entries. No purchase necessary. Complete the rules and regulations at tsn.ca/Wendy's and kick for $1 million. Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats might want to stop kicking to Dominic Dorsey and might want to start focusing on number 34. He's done the most damage here tonight for Toronto. Joseph. Once again, Spider-Man, Arlan Bruce. And another first down, but Dominic Dorsey, he's not doing it on the return. How about this little screen pass here, perfectly played.
As has become a theme tonight, Dominic Dorsey is the big play man for the Toronto Argonauts. The play action freezes the defense and allows Dorsey to slip out into the flat. Easy pass. You just put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. This is what you tell your quarterback to do. And when you've got a playmaker like Dorsey, it usually works out pretty well.
In the backfield, Dorsey, the play action to him. Joseph has to scramble now, and he's brought down at the 8-yard line. But Dominic Dorsey, we know what he can do Everyone knows what he can do. Charlie Taff has often said, I don't want to kick the ball to him. They've made a couple of mistakes kicking it to him tonight here. He's set up every score for the Argos so far.
Well, he sure has, between the kick returns and big reception. This is exactly why, at the start of the season, the Toronto Argonauts made Dominique Dorsey their starting running back and got him more involved in the offense. Common sense, you look at what he does in the return game, you recognize the skills this guy has with the ball in his hands. You can get him the ball in a little bit of space. He can make things happen.
Johnson and Robinson are the wideouts. Joseph looking over the middle. In trouble, though. Avoids one tackle. End zone. Johnson dropped it. Bethel Johnson, the sure-handed former NFLer, would have had his first CFL touchdown.
Well, Kerry Joseph throws this one on the run. You wonder if he may have caught Johnson off guard if he thought he was going to run it in. But he just let that one get into his pads. He was unable to get his hands up on it in time. It hit the shoulder pads. Pretty tough to cushion it on a hard plastic surface.
So the Tiger Cats going to try to hold the Argos to just a three-pointer, and they blew it. They botched it. Whoops. Cody Pickett the hold, and no kick from the Argos. Back live at Ivor Stadium, inside 2 minutes before halftime. What has been a very entertaining game so far. Cats get the ball back after the Argos misplay a field goal by Mike Vanderjagt, which should have been a chip shot. Let's take a look what happened on the exchange from center to Cody Pickett.
And Cody Pickett's going to get this ball. Comes into his body a little bit, and he fumbles it on the way down. Mike Vanderjagt doesn't feel comfortable with the timing of that ball getting down. Didn't feel like it was going to get there. So he pulls up on it. You see Pickett basically with a two-hand pin almost.
Good thing he did. Otherwise, Pickett would have picked up his hand in the end zone. So that Dominic Dorsey, huge play, is negated. 18-16, Argos. Woodcock dodges one and another, and finally pushed out of bounds by Byron Parker. First catch tonight for Pat Woodcock.
Pat Woodcock lines up as a wide receiver to the right side of your screen. He just sits it down here. He's got a little bit of space. A couple nice moves in the open field. Woodcock's got pretty good speed, gets to the outside. Good job by Byron Parker to get him out of bounds. Woodcock making things happen. A little bit of a year of rebirth for Pat Woodcock. Really revived his career here in Hamilton this season. It's been a nice addition.
Right through Casey Printer's legs. Try to make something out of nothing. And lucky that the Cats did not give it right back. Looking for Preche Rodriguez, but bad exchange here from Marwan Hage to Casey Printers.
Back in that shotgun formation. You wonder sometimes when you get a hot, steamy night and there is some humidity in the air here in Hamilton tonight, if that ball gets a little bit slick for the center. Hage rolled that one back, and Printers has to again adjust on the fly to avoid a disastrous play.
Marwan Hage, you see him lining up there with Adriano Belli. Two buddies. Two guys who give a lot to charity away from the game, too. And they line up, though. No love lost. Printers lets it go, and it's caught. Once again, Rodriguez. You see how tight it is on the sideline here, but Printers had to take a shot that time.
Well, it's going to be the free safety, Kenny Wheaton, once again, is going to come in from the right side of that defensive formation. He's got a free run. Arrives just as Printers throws the ball. The ultimate blindside shot, but Printer stands in, takes that hit, delivers a strike.
Again, Casey Printers nursing a tender thumb. Got it away in time. Handoff inside to Lumsden. Jesse Lumsden. Brought down by Riel Johnson. Good first half for Jesse Lumsden, and kind of limited duty here because of the distribution with him and Terry Cawley.
Yeah, well, once again, it's keeping both of those backs fresh. I like this idea from Charlie Taft, Marcel Belfay, and the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. They've got 3 very good ball carriers in that backfield. But using these 2 in particular, Cawley and Lumsden, a little bit different styles, but you've always got fresh legs, which means they're running at full speed.
There was a good call there by the Tiger Cats, changing it up on the Argos. They expected Lumsden on second and short. Jeff Piercy got the football. And down near the 30-yard line now.
You look at Jesse Lumsden's numbers from week 2. 20 carries, 189 yards. Just shredding that Toronto Argonaut defense. That was the first of their 2 wins so far this season over the Argos.
Lumsden on the cutback, so Casey Printers has to manage the clock here before halftime as well. 43 seconds to go. It will be another second down play here. And a good chance for the Cats to put some points on the board. Will they get 3 or will they find the end zone?
Well, they go to a different personnel package here. Did you see Terry Cawley come into the lineup? Printers barking out signals in that no-huddle offense.
Printers now stands in over the middle in traffic. Looking for Bauman. Kenny Wheaton there, but it was a one-hopper, so Nick Setta will come out. And a chance here to give the Cats the lead heading into the locker room.
See Printers once again. Pocket collapsing on him a little bit. He's got the pressure coming. One hops that one.
Nick Setta last year was kicking at about 85%. Not so much this year, 10 for 15, but has not had to be used that much this year. That's what Charlie Taft wanted. He wanted to see his team reach the end zone more than see Nick Setta. But Setta for the lead. Oh, and that one blocked. And look out here, Mike O'Shea has the football. And let's take a look as the Argos now have a chance to put points on the board.
Well, we'll see a couple of gaffes. This one's going to come from right up the middle is where you're going to see the block come here. Pressure, that's Real Johnson that splits 2 offensive linemen. You've got to always step down, block your inside gap. That didn't happen. Johnson split the 2 offensive linemen. Came free for the block. Mike O'Shea was probably looking for someone to lateral that to.
Here's a guy who knows both ends of this Labor Day rivalry. Has played in Hamilton, plays in Toronto, second all-time tackles. So Kerry Joseph. Ray Marius swallows him up. 19 seconds to go. This will be a long field goal based on the timing left. Halftime coming up. Rona at the half. The guys standing by will take you back to earlier today. The Edmonton Eskimos winning the Battle of Alberta. Henry Burris had to leave that game with a toe injury. So the Eskimos beat the Stamps earlier today. And here in Hamilton tonight, the Argonauts leading the Tiger Cats 18-16. A few moments ago, it looked like the Tiger Cats would have the lead before halftime. And there's Steve Barato, who is now calling the plays for Kerry Joseph.
And Steve Barato doing a pretty good job of it based on what we've seen from this Toronto offense tonight. Seem to be very much in sync. Good flow and making the right calls at the right times as well. And probably that pass to Dominique Dorsey. Long pass and run. A perfect example of that.
Well, a chance here to take it further downfield, maybe even take a shot. 19 seconds. Second down, Joseph down the sideline. Arland Bruce to the 10. And 11 seconds to go. They have another chance to get it to the house here.
Well, Bruce lines up as the middle receiver. They've got trips to the field, 3 receivers to the wide side. They run kind of a scissor route here. Outside receiver James Robinson goes in. They cross it.
And there's a challenge flag. And I think it might have to do where Bruce caught that football. Challenge flag on the field. Replay was just shown here in the stadium.
We saw Kerry Joseph take a hit to make the play on that one, make the throw to Bruce.
Let's take a look at the catch. Was it a catch? Was he out of bounds? And oh boy,
pretty close. You look at that right foot, may well have been on the sideline.
I don't know. That's not definitive there. This one might be a little more definitive. Yeah, it's pretty close. Those are the looks. Andre Prue might have a couple other to look at. This is a big play here with 11 seconds to go before halftime. This would either give the Argos a chance at the end zone, or Vanderjagt would have to come out and try around a 48-yarder. Here's another look. I don't know, Dwayne. What do you think? What do you see there? I don't see much. I mean, could be in, could be out.
Yeah, frankly, if I had to guess, I'd say that he was out, but it may not be conclusive.
Official right there, the side judge. He's right there. Like, you can't get much closer than that as an official to make that call.
I saw Pinball Clemens down there on the sidelines with a pretty clear view. They should ask him. He's an honest guy.
Did he have full possession as that foot came down? Boy, this is a tough one. And a number of challenge calls, as you see during the season here on TSN, and some have been a little controversial at times. There's a big one here in Hamilton early in the season against Saskatchewan. Here's a look.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's a completed pass. First down, Toronto.
Charlie didn't like that.
And that's exactly the situation, though, is whether he's in or out is so hard to tell. You're not going to get a conclusive play. Had it been called out initially, it would have been ruled out because they wouldn't have seen enough to overturn it.
So Joseph to the end zone, a little rainbow toss. The guy who made many of those catches in the National Football League, Bethel Johnson, could not catch up with it. Kind of seen it all here the last little while. Botched field goal, a blocked field goal, and a somewhat controversial decision. Crowd here hated that call.
And that call sets up Toronto for a couple of shots at the end zone.
Only 6 seconds to go, though.
Yeah, unable to connect on that one to Johnson on the go route.
So
Vanderjagt.
So where we were, really, in essence, a minute and a half ago, we're back here again. Straight up and straight through for Vanderjagt. So we went from the Tiger Cats potentially having the lead, and so now the Argos with a 5-point advantage and 4 seconds to go before halftime. What a night for Arland Bruce and Dominic Dorsey, and also Kerry Joseph at the controls again for Rich Stubler.
Yeah, you look offensively at the things Kerry Joseph has been able to do with the help of Dominic Dorsey, Jamal Robertson in that run game. Certainly that chemistry with Arland Bruce as well. One of the things that's gone along with the quarterback situation as it's been in Toronto through the first part of the season, it's not just a matter of game time and Kerry Joseph getting with his receivers, but you got to imagine with Michael Bishop out of the picture, Kerry Joseph is getting a much greater percentage of the reps in practice, and you're seeing the timing now.
Labor Day Classic so far belonging to the Toronto Argonauts at halftime. 21-16. The CFL on TSN will continue.
60 minutes, non-stop football.
little bit of everything here so far. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the CFL, proud home of the Grey Cup. Argos by 5. Let's go down to Sarah Orlesky with the Hamilton Tiger Cats head coach.
Coach, Casey Printers is back as your starting quarterback after missing the last 3 games. He threw for 113 yards in the first half. What did you think of his play?
I thought he played very well. He made a couple of big first downs with his feet when we either weren't open or he had a little pressure, and scrambled out of there and made some big plays. I think he's playing very well.
Kerry Joseph and Dominic Dorsey, both either through the air or on the ground, were being able to exploit your defense a little bit. What type of adjustments are you looking to make in that second half?
Well, you can't give up the big plays. We had him backed up on the 4-yard line. Great punt by Nick Setta, and that's what you want to do, and we let him out of there. They hit Dorsey on the flat on a boot-type play, and then we got to try and get a little more pressure on Kerry. He's getting too much time to throw the ball. We had a couple of good series, but too many big plays, and when you got a team backed up, you got to shut the door right there.
Thanks so much for this, Coach.
Okay, you're welcome.
Charlie Taft and the Tiger Cats trying to get win number 3 on the season. They've beaten the Argos twice. Argos looking for win number 4, and this is the first week that Kerry Joseph operates as the Argo quarterback without that long shadow named Michael Bishop behind him.
Kerry Joseph seems to be running that offense with what appears to be a little more confidence. I don't know if it was confidence necessarily that was the issue, or just no panic. No, he has that composure. He has that ability to just go out and play without worrying about making a mistake.
Second half underway. Ray Smith trying to burst outside. Good blocking here. Smith near midfield. And almost broke one, something he has yet to do yet in the Canadian Football League. So Casey Printers and Kerry Joseph, 2 guys who, as we talked about, have something to show here tonight.
Yeah, both of them have had solid performances, if unspectacular, but pretty well called games offensively. Joseph has benefited from a couple of more big plays, particularly the one that Charlie Taft referred to in that interview with Sarah to Dominique Dorsey, where Hamilton had him backed up. Short little flat pass to Dominique Dorsey turns into a huge gain.
Saw a lot of offense in the first half. See what happens in the second now. Terry Cawley gets the first touch from scrimmage here in the third quarter.
Hamilton continuing to have some success running the football. You look at that Toronto defense. You heard Matt Dunnigan talk about it at halftime. Often 4-man fronts. A lot of the times you had Richard Ziegler in there who's lining up as a linebacker. That's a 5th defensive lineman on the field. They're putting 5 big bodies out there, yet Hamilton is still able to execute in the running game, doing a good job of it.
Lumsden watches from the sideline like he did in the first series in the first half. Once again, it's Cawley. Hamilton Tiger Cats lead the Canadian Football League in 6 different categories coming into tonight's game, and this is what they have done.
Yeah, and Jesse Lumsden's the guy who gets so much of the attention for their run game. But you consider with Lumsden out for a couple games, Trey Smith has come in and picked up the slack. Terry Cawley has come in and picked up the slack. And then their quarterbacks, Casey Printers, showing a lot of it tonight. Richie Williams was fantastic. This is a team that has 4 guys who have averaged over 7 yards a carry. They're 3 running backs plus Richie Williams at quarterback.
Whoops.
Pretty clear procedure call on the left tackle. Jonta Woodard got into that back pedal in a hurry.
A lot of quarterbacks would be envious of that back pedal. So this will bring the ball back now.
Legal procedure. Hamilton number 69, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You're going to see Jonta Woodard right here, your left tackle. Think it's going to be a pass play here? I think that was going to be a little more than a 3-step drop from Casey Printers.
Second down in a long 9, almost 10 yards. Passing down this time. Printers has running room though. Little pump fake. Printers tries to go forward. Dangerous move there for a quarterback. Sometimes you want to do that little hook slide, but it's going to be close to a first down. And Charlie Taft Not even waiting again, not hesitating. Nick Setta immediately coming out. Try for 3. Go back to that first half, though, when that third down call, Setta came out. It wasn't so much the third down call, it's the fact that Dominic Dorsey got the football.
Yeah, it was a tough call. It was one of those that, in all honesty, could have gone either way. Most people are looking third and maybe a yard, something they should be able to get. But if they cough up the ball on that third down, they're giving it up deep in their own end and guaranteed points.
43-yard line for Setta, right down Main Street. Back to a 2-point game. Labor Day in Hamilton. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan's Make the Call. Play on cfl.nissan.ca for your chance to win a trip to the Grey Cup. This is where the road to the Grey Cup really starts taking some turns. Labor Day and beyond, kind of the unofficial midway point of the season. Gary Joseph and the Argos with a 2-point lead. Play action to Dorsey, and that one incomplete. That play, not very good. Joseph down, but quickly up.
Watch the free safety. Ryan Glasper on this play is coming free off the edge. He seems to be spying Kerry Joseph, and when it looks like they're going to run that zone read kind of play, Glasper has taken off to put pressure on Joseph to either make the tackle or at least force him to hurry his throw, as he did in that case.
Last thing Rich Stubler wants to see is an injury to Kerry Joseph. They have the luxury of having Michael Bishop as a backup. One hopper. The backup now is Cody Pickett. The third-string quarterback is receiver Reggie McNeil. Joseph is all right. But the Argo offense goes to the sidelines. They'll boot the ball away.
When you talk about that quarterback situation, it's an interesting roster move by the Toronto Argonauts, but I like the move. They're actually playing a man short with 41 active instead of 42. Because they've chosen to dress Reggie McNeil as a receiver and let him be their emergency quarterback. If they declare Reggie McNeil as their third quarterback, he can't play any other position for them. And as we saw with Reggie McNeil last time in Hamilton, too dangerous as a receiver to limit what you do with him.
Trey Smith. Nowhere to go, and Kerry Joseph. Looks like he got banged up on that hit by Ryan Glasper.
Glasper had a free run at him on that play, and Joseph was in a vulnerable position as he was set up to throw the football. You saw him slow to get up and clearly shaking here on the sidelines.
Head area, a hit that was pretty high. Cody Pickett on the sideline.
It looks like he's looking for the smelling salts over there.
Yeah, he got rocked. Sarah Orleski will give us an update. Casey Printer's turn now. Printers has to get out of trouble. Here he goes again. Printers, little juke step, steps out of bounds.
And Charlie Taft talked about Casey Printers using his legs to keep drives alive for them. Another example there.
Penalty flag on the play. Looks like it's against the Toronto Argonauts. And it was near the end of that play. A little extracurricular, you think, here. Andre Proulx looks like he's a little heated.
Illegal substitution, Toronto number 7. This is a 10-yard penalty. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Toronto 78. This is a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Adriano Belli, and I wouldn't be surprised if Marwan Hage was in the vicinity as well. Again, good buddies who get after it. Adriano Belli has been in on a couple of these kind of plays in the past, not only as an Argo, but also as a Tie-Cat.
Yeah, Adriano Belli truly gets into the spirit of Labor Day here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. That's just a spirit of not liking the guys on the other side of the ball.
And I'm sure the kissing bandit is doing a little more than looking for another smooch victim. Here's a pitch to Cauley. Jonathan Brown. And things are starting to get a little more volatile on that field. You know, this guy usually sparks it. Adriano Belli and his buddy Marwan Hage. Good pals off the field, not so much on.
He's a good kid, but hey, I've been playing in this game when he was eating bologna sandwiches and popping zits back in college, so I'm going to give him everything I can. He's a great competitor. I can't wait to get into it with him and see if I can get him one-on-one without some of his guards to help him.
Well, he might have there, and it cost his team, however. KC Printers, second down in short yardage, lunging forward. That lunge important. We'll have to see what the spot is here. But I don't think Rich Stubler would concur with the comments by Adriano Belli.
Well, these two are such great friends off the field. Fans will remember Adriano Belli got ejected from a game earlier in the season for punching his good friend in the stomach in a little scrum after the play.
Maybe even a little more south in the stomach.
Well, Belli picked up a fine for that. And the funny thing is that these two guys went out for dinner the week after that ejection and fine. Adriano Belli had the fine notice, told Marwan Hage he was making him pay for dinner since he had to pay for the fine.
So now 3rd and 1 in Toronto territory, and this time Richie Williams comes in on this 3rd down play. No booing from the crowd. Williams straight ahead. And it was really 3rd and less than a yard, and so it looks like it's a 1st down. You wonder if Charlie Taff, I'm sure he would take back what he did in the first half based on what happened with Dominic Dorsey. No hesitation that time. 9.5 minutes to go now in the 3rd quarter.
Good push from that Hamilton offensive line that time. Flashbacks may have played a role for Charlie Tapp in that decision. But again, very different field position in making the decision this time.
Offensive line of the Ticats getting George Hudson back this week. Getting some continuity there. Printers getting some good protection here tonight and some good run blocking as well from the best running team in the Canadian Football League.
Well, the backs are doing a great job. They get credit for that all the time. This offensive line, watch the push from up front here. Marwan Hage at center. They get a good double team with Peter Diakowski, the left guard. Terry Cauley follows those two guys, makes a couple great moves on his own once past that first level.
2nd down, 1 yard to go. More push there and close to the red zone now for the Tiger Cats. Trail by 2.
Jeff Piercy gets a carry there. Another well-blocked play from the boys up front. One of the things that's been nice for this team has been the emergence of Peter Diakowski. Started a lot of last season for them at guard. Got back into the starting lineup a little bit when Cedric Gagne-Marcoux went down earlier in the season. But because the Canadian Diakowski is playing well and able to start at that spot, it gives this team a lot more flexibility with the ratio with Jesse Lumsden at tailback.
Printers fires. Tony Miles can't scoop it up. Now the O-line's so important to a team, certainly protection for their quarterback. And when you have those types of yards that have been put up tonight by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Jesse Lumsden will tell you that it's nice to have some continuity on that front line.
A lot of people don't like playing against those guys. They're bullies, you know, they're mean. They're the exact kind of O-line any running back wants to play behind, just because, you know, they want to get after it. They're pissed off most of the time, and they like to hit people. So
And they have been tonight. Here's the rush, though. Printers slipped a little bit. Casey Printers takes off. What a block there. Casey Printers scores. That was O-line, but that was all Casey Printers. Aided by a spectacular block.
Well, this is Casey Printers in playmaker mode, as he calls it. He said he learned from watching Richie Williams over the last few weeks. Just make plays, go out and create. Fantastic block by the smallest guy on the field, Pat Woodcock, is what sprung him once he started scrambling.
Casey Printers, first game back after the thumb injury. Couple of touchdowns here on the run tonight, including one throwing. And now the Tiger Cats assume command here in Hamilton. Well, with that touchdown, Casey Printers takes over the team lead in touchdowns with 6 on the season, 2 tonight. What a return for him, and the Tiger Cats take the lead here, 26-21. Harry Joseph looks like he's already had his bell rung there by Ryan Glasper earlier. A Pooch kick this time, trying to keep it away from Dorsey. Aaron Wagner picked up the football, and let's take a look once again, Dwayne Ford, at the latest trip to the end zone by Mr. Printers.
This is Casey Printers again, reacting quickly, making a decision to go. Not getting too hung up on the play. He gets a little bit of help right here from Pat Woodcock. Comes back for a block on Byron Parker, who had a line on Printers. And that frees him up just enough to get into the end zone.
Well, you usually talk about Jesse Lumsden or Terry Colley, who've had good nights, but Printers has 68 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Arlen Bruce continuing his impressive night into Hamilton territory, and Kerry Joseph again looking all right after getting hit hard. Kerry Joseph has a lot of other things on his mind right now as well, being from Louisiana in the area and friends and family. During the bye week, he actually went home.
Yeah, he was at home, and before the storm began, had a chance to visit and certainly enjoyed his time at home, but not much relaxation since he's been back, as there's been some concern for family and friends. He said that they did get evacuated safely from Louisiana yesterday, but no doubt that's something still on his mind.
And a few players tonight, as a matter of fact, who have Louisiana ties, including Canadian Peter Diakowski, who played at LSU, and Byron Parker, who played at Tulane. And I know the sports is secondary when it comes to things like what's going on in New Orleans and Louisiana with Hurricane Gustav. 6.5 minutes to go, third quarter. A lot of scoring here tonight. Joseph pulls it back, finds Andre Talbot. Here's what Kerry Joseph had to say about his friends and family back home.
They had enough time to evacuate and to know that they are further up north now to be safe and secure. It gives you that sense of peace and that sense of ease to know at least your loved ones will be safe. You know what, the material things, the possessions, they can always be replaced. But you know what, that thought is still on your mind, and hopefully this one here is not as devastating as it was 3 years ago with dealing with Katrina.
Dominic Dorsey is stopped in his tracks on 2nd and 1. Now third. This ball actually went backwards, so it's going to be third and about 1.5 yards. Kerry Joseph looking to the sideline for a signal here. The kick team has not been brought out.
Big Torrey Collins, a newcomer on that defensive line. Nice job there. Splitting the block, getting into the backfield to stuff Dorsey.
They're going for it. They are going for it. Newcomer Torrey Collins, his CFL debut here tonight. Play clock down to 8 seconds. Shotgun for Joseph. The option. Now on his feet. Throws it to the wide side. Arlen Bruce. First down and more. A broken play. They were intending to run the option. went the other way, and a big break for the Argos.
We've been talking tonight about Casey Printers being in what he called playmaker mode, just looking to make plays, whatever else may break down. How about this play? Improvisation from Kerry Joseph. The option to the right gets shut down, scrambles all the way back to his left, and ends up passing to Arlen Bruce. Good presence of mind from Kerry Joseph. Not just he didn't force the option, but then beyond that, to have his eyes downfield to make a throw after scrambling all the way back the other way.
Jamal Robertson the carry on first down, close to the red zone. Arlen Bruce, over 100 yards in receiving here tonight. I guess that's what happens when you're a superhero. You get open. I don't think he has any other masks in his helmet, do you?
Well, we'll find out, I guess, if he gets another touchdown. There might be a cape or something in there. Well, this is what the Toronto Argonauts expect from Arlen Bruce. Night in and night out. We haven't seen a ton of it so far this season. They've relied on him a lot, but hasn't had a lot of really huge games.
Joseph to the far side. Reggie McNeil. And they're saying it's a catch. It looked like a one-hopper from here, and we might see a challenge flag. McNeil saying go, 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 because I think he knows. I don't. No, it's a one-hopper. And there's the flag. From here, it looked like he clearly scooped it up on one hop.
A good effort by Reggie McNeil to sell it and recognize we got to get the ball snapped. No such luck.
Reggie McNeil, again, his story, if you're just joining us and you haven't seen him play before, came to Toronto as a quarterback. Was drafted by Cincinnati. Was a quarterback in college and a good one, Texas A&M. And in high school, and in fact, comparisons to, he was a better player at many times in his young career than Vince Young.
Well, Rich Stubler talks about having watched Reggie McNeil play since he was in high school, since he was 15 years old. Played in the same conference in high school in Texas as Vince Young. When they named the all-conference team, Reggie McNeil was actually the first team all-conference quarterback ahead of Young. Went on to a great career at Texas A&M, fantastic quarterback, but not in a great passing offense. So that's a part of the game he's still learning, but the athletic ability that this young man has, you can't teach.
He's drafted by Cincinnati as a receiver, played there as a matter of fact, so he came to the Canadian Football League. Kind of like a Danny Barrett type. Danny Barrett, remember, with the Argos, played receiver at one point as well as being a quarterback, kind of a slash. I think Reggie McNeil knows deep down. Right now he's hoping that no camera caught that. Andre Proulx is still under the hood. And unless he's not seeing an angle we saw.
Aside from any replays on the big screen, the Hamilton bench also should have had a pretty good view of that, as it was pretty close to where they all were.
Big difference, of course. That play makes it a first down and goal, as opposed to being third down. Chris Thompson, part of that ball hawking secondary for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
You mentioned Reggie McNeil in that slash type of role that he could play for this Argonaut team. They haven't really done it yet, but the potential is there to put in some pretty creative offensive packages when you've got a guy like that in your lineup. Gives you a second quarterback on the field, and a guy who's very experienced running the option.
Rich Stubler has so much confidence in Reggie McNeil as a quarterback, said someday he could be the quarterback for this team. The question is, will Rich Stubler still be around to be the head coach of this team? So many rumors floating out there about what might happen should the Argos lose here tonight. You see Pinball Clemens on the sideline. Damon Allen's down there. And let's take another look. Unless they're seeing something we're not. Unless he had his hand under it. Well,
it still appeared to bounce.
Yeah, it did, but maybe it bounced off his hand. Maybe that's what Andre Proulx is looking at. It looked like the nose of the football actually hit the turf. Already one call tonight has gone against Charlie Taft, that to Arland Bruce earlier along the sideline.
Well, this instant replay that was supposed to make life a little easier for the officials hasn't done it tonight.
Yeah, maybe, again, it looks like a one-hopper. Andre's now talking with the people upstairs. Maybe just not getting a good look at it down there. And I know you might have high definition at home, but I'm not so sure that's a high definition monitor on the sideline.
After review, the ball hit the ground. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass. It will be third down, 8 yards to go from the 20-yard line.
Reggie knows it too, doesn't he?
Not much protesting here from Reggie McNeil. That's usually a pretty good measuring stick as to whether or not they got the call right.
So instead of being the first and goal, the Argos now will go for 3. 27-yard field goal attempt from Mike Matterjack. 2 for 2 here tonight, but also had one that should have been 3, but Cody Pickett couldn't put it down for him to kick it early. No problem. Argos pull closer. 2-point game for the Cats. Iverwin Stadium used to be known as Monster House. Joe Montford, 8 seasons with the Cats. Number 53, ate a lot of quarterbacks for dinner. And he's with Sarah Orleski.
Joe, you've played on both sides of the ball when it comes to these Labor Day Classics. When you were a player, could you pick up on the atmosphere of these games?
I tell you what, it's too exciting to put in and describe in words right now. You know, I'm feeling it right now. You know, I'm almost ready to incline to put some shoulder pads on and a helmet to get out there and stop some of these runs. But at the same time, I'm living a good life in Atlanta right now.
I think you'd make some of these fans behind us very happy if you did that. Joe, yesterday after the Tiger Cats practice, we saw that you gave a speech to them. Could you just talk a little bit about what you said to the group?
Well, the biggest thing, you know, historically, to come in this stadium to get a win, it was always been hard. And I just want them to know, all the young guys, to know how hard it is. You just don't let nobody come in your house and do like they want to do. You know what I'm saying? You make sure they take off their shoes and they sit down and they act respectable.
Thanks so much for this, Joe.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Thank you.
The Monster fired them up yesterday, so much so that after he spoke, a few of the Tiger Cats said, give him a jersey. And really, the Tiger Cats have not had a rush end here in Hamilton since Joe Montford, a rush end like him. Tony Miles breaks one. Mike O'Shea in pursuit, and it's a first down. How big was that speech for the Ticats yesterday? Here's Jesse Lumsden.
He came out and he was fired up. And it just shows, you know, the competitive nature that he has. And it's just, you know, if that doesn't inspire you, then you shouldn't be playing in this sport. Because it shows, like, even after he's done with the game, how emotional he can still get, you know, about the Labor Day Classic.
Joe Montford, some of the great fans here in Hamilton. So many of the players who were on both sides of the rivalry here tonight. You saw Mike Moriali in the picture. Tommy Joe Coffey, Damon Allen is here. A number of guys who played in Hamilton and Toronto and were loved and hated in both cities. And that's what I like this right here. Wasn't there? Great fan. But come on around, get a picture with Joe.
Yeah, as you said a minute ago, the Hamilton Tiger Cats haven't had a dominant pass rusher since Joe Montford left. Tim Cheatwood put up some good numbers for a couple of years, but Joe Montford was the last guy who really dictated offensive game plans. And I know from playing against him, we adjusted what we did offensively to account for Joe Montford.
How many times did he hit you?
Twice.
2:25 to go, third quarter. 2-point game. There's Jesse Lumsden. Have not seen much of him in the third quarter, but maybe this is his time. Well, before Joe Montfort, biggest rush end in Hamilton was Grover Covington, and the guy who played on that line was this guy, Mike Walker, who was hired by the Argos this week.
Yeah, this probably feels a little bit awkward for Mike Walker being on the Toronto bench here in Ivor Wynne Stadium, but brought in as they've adjusted their defensive scheme a little bit to help out with their defensive line. Mike Walker has coached the last couple of years at Washington State University, and amongst his charges was actually Adam Braidwood of the Edmonton Eskimos. So Mike Walker is kept in touch with the CFL.
Printer's in trouble, goes down, and there's a penalty flag. Real Johnson in on the tackle. It looks like Johnson is up, and he's all right. So we'll go against the Tiger Cats. And Nick Setta will once again have to kick it away, and expect him to kick it away from Dominic Dorsey again. He has burned the Cats a few times tonight.
Holding Hamilton number 69. Penalties decline. Third down.
Jonte Woodard again with an infraction.
And with those wide side kicks that we've seen Nick Setta use to kick away from Dorsey, it's forced the Argos to go with 2 returners in order to cover the whole field. Arlen Bruce now the second returner back.
Bruce will get the football and get a block from Dorsey, but dropped the 17-yard line. 26-24. 1:24 to go in the third. Well, for every sack in tonight's game, Purolator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purolator, where business is going. This is the sack attack this year. These numbers are updated. Toronto now has 15. Hamilton just 13 sacks. The Montreal Alouettes lead the way, and we should commend the people of Hamilton who also donated to the Purolator Tackle Hunger program before tonight's game, helping those less fortunate. Out of the backfield, good call to Arlen Bruce again. When in doubt, call number 5.
And finding different ways to get the ball into the hands of Arlen Bruce. This one's just a quick hitter. Little play action. You're going to see him freeze the defense for a sec with the fake to Dominic Dorsey. Just a hitch or swing type route to Arlen Bruce, so he gets some momentum going towards the line of scrimmage. See Bruce as the inside receiver. Just swings wide a little bit and sets up his blocks. But catches the ball with his shoulders turned downfield, accelerating towards the line.
Joseph. And almost picked off. I was just about to say, is Harry Joseph's having trouble finding Bethel Johnson tonight. This has been a very clean game in terms of the offenses. We have not seen any turnovers, any fumbles or interceptions. The special teams have left a little to be desired.
Yeah, as you said, the offenses have executed pretty well for the most part. Everything's not going to go perfectly. Obviously, the defense is getting paid to play football as well. But some special teams plays have made a difference in this game. We saw both teams have trouble with their field goal units. We've seen some big returns both ways affecting the field position. Special teams could ultimately be the difference in this ballgame.
6 receivers now. Joseph avoids a tackle in the backfield. They had him wrapped up and was able to get it away, but not connect. I don't know how he got that football away. Darrell Adams was in the backfield. Look at this.
Well, this is just the strength of Kerry Joseph. He's got 2 270-pound linemen fighting to try and bring him down. Joseph kind of shakes him off and steps up to avoid the sack.
Darrell Adams could have tied his shoelaces. That's how close he was to his foot. Adams on the field. Take a quick injury timeout. 11 seconds left in the quarter. Cats nurse a 2-point advantage. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. When you're in the zone, time almost stands still. Getting into the zone begins with Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. So just before this quarter will end, Darrell Adams will walk to the sideline. Looks like he's okay. And the Argos will boot the football away. Mike Vanderjagt. And Trey Smith. In a very close game.
Smith has had a couple of big returns here so far as well.
Down straight into his midsection. And wrestled down at the 42. That's the final play of the third quarter. We head to the fourth with the Cats leading 26-24 on Labor Day in Iberwind. Air game, ground game colliding here. Our third quarter numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Rod. We talked about these two teams both having pretty successful offensive nights, but doing it in two very different ways. The Argos through the air, the Tiger Cats along the ground. You look at that time of possession, using the ground game means that the Ticats are dominating the clock, wearing that Argonaut defense down a whole lot more than the Argos are doing to their defense.
Tiger Cats did that on the ground in the third quarter, really without Jesse Lumsden. Only one touch in the third quarter. Do you expect to see more of 28 in the fourth?
Absolutely, and that goes hand in hand with that Argo defense being a little bit tired from being on the field longer. Now you've got a fresh 226-pound Jesse Lumsden carrying the ball in the fourth quarter. That's when he did a lot of his damage the last time these two teams faced each other, at least the last time he faced the Argos. And now it's a perfect situation for him to do the same again.
And again, not having to play all 60 minutes, even though he talked about it in the pregame because of Terry Cawley's presence here. A fresh Jesse Lumsden in the fourth. And a 2-point lead for the Tiger Cats, looking for a season sweep over the Argos. Printers out of the pocket again. Real Johnson drags him down. That time he wasn't getting away.
That's been one of the keys for the Argos, is that they've been getting pressure on Casey Printers, often been surrounding him. The important thing, and Real Johnson did at that time, is making sure that they stay in rush lanes, not allowing space for Casey Printers to step up and escape or break contain and escape, because he has hurt them with his legs here tonight. Good job that time forming that net around him and closing in, not creating gaps through which he could run.
Appreciate Rodriguez on the top of your screen. Printers again in trouble. Look out! Brought down. Jonathan Brown. His 6th sack of the season.
Well, this is just a straight effort sack from Jonathan Brown, coming from the left side of your screen. Keeps working after fighting off the block from Jonta Woodard. Recognizes the play is still going on, fights back to get to Casey Printers for the sack.
So a game really dominated by the offenses in the first half. Defenses trying to hold here. Set up. Looking to angle one again. The dangerous Dominic Dorsey. Slipped. And the Cats are happy about that. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Futures Shop. From MP3 players to laptops, get everything you need this back to school at Futures Shop. Hard to believe, back to school tomorrow for so many. Summer has flown by back at Steeltown. Big smoke against the hammer. Argos down 2, knocked down the line of scrimmage. There was a penalty flag on the far side of the field. And it goes against the Tiger Cats.
Offside. Hamilton, number 97. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Merrill Adams offside. There's Argos owner, one of the co-owners, David Cinnamon, and the president of the team, Michael Clemens. Pinball's name in the headlines last couple of days.
Take the attention to the guys on the field. Those are the stars.
Arland Bruce with an outstanding one-handed grab. But an equally outstanding defensive play stops him short. It'll be second down.
We've become accustomed to the highlight reel grabs over the years from Arland Bruce. So we'll just add this one to his tape. Shaken up as he got upended there. Rakeem Bradley fighting off the block to come and submarine him here.
Plays on both sides of the ball. Bruce has a touchdown tonight. Joseph going for Bethel Johnson, who has it. Back in the Argo lineup, Bethel Johnson with the football. And a huge play again from Kerry Joseph.
And they've been trying to make this connection all night. They were so excited about having Bethel Johnson in the lineup. They use his speed. He just goes to the corner. Essentially double coverage. Hamilton's in that 2 safety look. But Johnson outruns the angles on that a little bit. Second safety, Sean Manning, unable to get over the top to help out Markeith Knowlton in coverage.
Johnson got hurt the first meeting of the season, second game. High ankle sprain. Joseph to the end zone for Bruce. Chris Thompson knocking it down. That was one of those go up and get it, and Bruce could not.
Yeah, nice play by Chris Thompson. Good job in coverage. The improvement in this Hamilton secondary has been noticeable as they've had the same group together essentially since the start of the season. Only an injury to Joaquin Bradley forced them to make a change. The addition of Chris Thompson from Edmonton in the offseason, one of the keys. He's had a solid year for them, leading the team with 3 interceptions.
Finally getting some continuity themselves in their secondary. Last year was musical chairs, basically. Joseph wants a timeout here. You know this game so well. You played it. You're in the booth now. Can you see Pinball Clemens coming back to the sideline, as has been suggested, should the Argos lose here tonight?
I think if Michael Clemens comes back to coach the Toronto Argonauts, the only way it'll happen will be by gunpoint. Quite frankly, I don't think that Michael Clemens has any interest in coming back to coach. He took a long time to make that decision. In the offseason, he made that decision for a reason. I think he's happy with what his role is now. And he's the guy who wanted Rick Stubler to be the head coach of this team, so he won't be in a hurry to facilitate that change.
Joseph again going for Johnson. Trying to run under that one, won't get under it. And once again, the kick team comes out. Now, you know, you look at it. When Pinball Clemens was on the sideline, this team a year ago was 1-6, then 2-6 coming into this game, and nobody was calling for anybody's head. And I think that's where some people are saying it might be a little unfair right now to lay all the blame on Rich Stubler.
Well, and I truly feel that way, and especially with the East Division the way it is, you can certainly contend that the Toronto Argonauts haven't performed up to expectations, but they have had the dark cloud of the quarterback situation hanging over their head. It has been a distraction, whatever anybody says about it, and that is not a situation that Rich Stubler created.
50-yarder by Mike Vanderjagt. The Argos lead by 1. Another one of those guys who's played both in Hamilton and Toronto, Damon Allen. Very skinny Damon Allen back in 1992. His lone season with the Cats, and then with the Argos later, of course, leading them to a Grey Cup. Damon Allen is here in Iverwood, and he's with Sarah.
Thanks so much, Rod. Damon, I see you down here on the sidelines, and I can see the emotion and everything. How much fun was it for you to play in these types of games?
It's more so about the atmosphere, even though the games it's a war out there during the games, but it's really about the fans. I mean, you know, every time I've been coming here into Hamilton, they know my name is Damon, but they call me my brother's name, Marcus. And so it's been, you know, quite entertaining talking to the fans and at the same time playing the game. And so I think the biggest part of Labor Day has everything to do with the fans.
With the departure of Michael Bishop, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not you might make a return. Would that be of interest to you at all?
No, I'm going to have to talk to my family about that one. But for me, right now, I'm really enjoying retirement. And I think there's just another exciting phase for me in my career. I'm done playing, but I do enjoy watching the games. Just like this Labor Day Classic as it is right now. With 11 minutes left in the ball game, it's 26-27. And I tell you, it's one of those days, whoever has the ball last may win the ball game.
Thanks so much for this.
Hey, thanks a lot. CFL all the way.
CFL all the way to #1 passing yardage leader. I think before the season began, I think Damon Allen might have entertained thoughts about coming back. Even though he's 45, he's a young 45. Not so sure now.
Damon would be a young 35.
Yeah, you would.
You never know as we get into this portion of the season where the emotion picks up and you get that itch for these playoff type games. Damon is a guy who never seemed quite ready to go when he retired. And those are usually the guys who end up coming back.
Printers in trouble again, and over the middle looking for Scott Mitchell, who has not caught a ball here tonight. Looked like it may be a broken route. Casey talking about that. So a 2 and out now for the Tiger Cats. And again, both D's starting to hold here a little more. So the Argos have a 1-point lead with 10.5 minutes to go in the fourth. Mixetta trying to keep it away as much as possible from Dominic Dorsey. Little bobble. Cut back, another one, and brought down. Dorsey hasn't done much here in the fourth quarter, but he's done a lot tonight.
Dominic Dorsey has been the most dangerous man on the field here tonight. Seems like every scoring opportunity the Argos have had has been set up by this man's plays on offense, on special teams. Everybody's familiar with what he's done in the return game in the past. The top special team player in the East last season. But they've got him more involved in the offense this year, both in the run game, and you see here the passing game. Longest play in this game. He's a dangerous weapon. Finding different ways to use him rather than just limiting him to being a returner. Been a big part of the Argos' offensive success here.
Smallest guy on the field, no doubt the fastest. And he go. Joseph has to go here. Knocked out of bounds. Tight confines here by Ray Marius. You go out of bounds here on the sideline, you do not have much room before you hit wall.
You know, some players would be distracted by this, but a guy like Kerry Joseph, he's a warrior. He's not worried about that. He's just worried about picking up as many yards as he can before he gets out.
2nd down and 8. Throwing down here. A little miscommunication here, it seems, getting ready for this play. Joseph looks to his left and open for a first down right at the yard marker is Andre Talbot.
You talk about receivers running routes, making sure they get first down depth. Andre Talbot had the marker to tell him exactly where to go on this one. May have come up just short, though, as he had to stutter step to try and get his feet down.
And it might be. It is a little bit short.
Well, this is a situation where the Argos, even though they're on their own side of center, they have to go for this. They have to maintain possession of the football here, run a little bit of time off the clock.
Quite a week in Argoland. Trading of strong-armed quarterback to release of a veteran safety. Those have come to play here tonight, though. 3rd down now. Joseph has the first down, but there's a penalty flag. Far side of the field. Somebody jump here.
Offside. Hamilton 97. 5-yard penalty. First down.
There's the culprit. Didn't matter, would have been a first down anyway with the Joseph plunge. Kerry Joseph now trying to march these Argos again. Expand this lead. High snap. Pump fake. Reggie McNeil at his 30 to the 20. Down near the 15-yard line. Reggie McNeil Kerry Joseph says he loves the way he runs a route because he was a quarterback.
So true, and as a quarterback, he understands the timing of the route and he understands exactly where the quarterback needs his receiver to be. So these two were able to make a connection very quickly once Reggie McNeil made the move to receiver. A lot of the balls have gone the way of Arlen Bruce tonight. Andre Talbot has caught a couple.
Only 3 games now as a receiver for the Argos. First game, over 100 yards. Big play there to the red zone. Joseph to the sideline. And the catch is made by James Robinson.
Between James Robinson and Reggie McNeil, nice little injection of youth into this Argonaut receiving corps. You think last year of all the veteran guys that they had that parted ways with those guys, they wanted to get a different look this year.
Great catch. Staying in bounds. No doubt that time.
They just added some great athletic ability to their receiving corps when you consider McNeil, Robinson, Bethel Johnson.
Now to the 6-yard line for Joseph. Trying to cap off a big drive. Dorsey. Knocked out of bounds. He is so elusive. Just like when you look like it might get stopped for a loss. Dominic Dorsey gets positive yardage again.
The Argos did a nice job creating misdirection here. They motioned all their receivers to the left to get the flow going that way and then sent Dorsey out to the right. And that off-tackle player, that sweep around the outside. He's got such speed even going to the short side of the field where you don't have quite as much room to outrun people. Dorsey was able to outrun some angles.
2nd and goal now. From just outside the 1-yard line. Dominic Dorsey has been Special Teams Player of the Week 3 times this season. Not McKay Loescher now. He's yelling at the sideline. Oh, there's a challenge flag. Charlie Taft throwing the flag again. That's what McKay Loescher was informing the officials about.
Good job by McKay Loescher to see that and make sure that the ball didn't get snapped while that flag was down.
Challenging probably where this ball is placed right now. Charlie Taft is back to the sideline.
Hamilton wanted to challenge the play. That was their 3rd challenge, which is illegal. Hamilton will be penalized for delay of game, half the distance to goal, and 1st down.
Yikes.
He'll be eligible on the next play.
Charlie Taft. That one goes completely against the Tiger Cats. So now the Argos get 3 cracks. Johnson, Robertson in the backfield. The end around, perfect. And a touchdown, Brian Crawford.
Brian Crawford's pretty excited about this one. Nice counter action here. They create flow to the right. Crawford lines up as a wingback to the left end of the line. Comes all the way around on the sweep. One the Ticats clearly hadn't seen before. They sure didn't expect that.
So this will make it an 8-point game. But a lot of time left still in the 4th. Argonauts searching for win number 4 on the season. Here's our game story so far. Lots of game left, though. Brought to you by MGD. Nothing to hide.
And Kerry Joseph poised to go over 400 yards in his first game as the Argos' undisputed field general. Of course, a lot of those going to Arlen Bruce, which is important. With Casey Printers, not a big day passing the ball, but Hamilton's success has come on the ground. And Printers has been a big part of that.
Trey Smith. Oh, what a hit. It's a couple times tonight that Aaron Wagner got down there in a hurry, and so now the Tiger Cats have to answer. They trail by 8 points. Ryan Crawford, a lad from Hamilton, who says if the Argos don't win, it's tough for him to go back home. Can hear these games when the Ticats play in his backyard. Takes a lot of grief in his hometown playing for the Argos. That's part of this rivalry.
Well, he's sure not making it easy on himself, scoring a big touchdown against the hometown team on Labor Day.
Printers in the pocket. Looking for Scott Mitchell again. What the Argos have done here as well is taken this usually boisterous crowd that was very loud early on right out of it right now. It's very quiet in Hamilton.
Well, right at this moment, I'm wondering, where's that run game that's piled up so many yards against the Argos now for 3 consecutive games? Find it a little curious that the Tiger Cats are coming out throwing the football here. Get the ball to Terry Colley, get the ball to Jesse Lumsden.
And no Jesse Lumsden. We have not seen much of him in the second half. Printers again sets. Out of the backfield's Colley. Terry Colley will be stopped short of a first down. Big plays there. Colley had some running room.
Well, it sure looked initially like when Terry Colley caught that football, he had plenty of room to just explode upfield for the first down. But Willie Middlebrooks did a nice job closing that gap. And tremendous open field tackle on a shifty runner.
One of those rookies in the secondary. Middlebrooks has played all year. Kenny Heatley and also Jason Shivers making his debut. Dorsey trying to read where Seth is kicking it. Bounding ball. Makes that first move. Cut back again. Dominic Dorsey doing some dancing. And a penalty flag. 6:45 to go. Argos lead 34-26. Back in Hamilton. Labor Day. Labor night. Rare Monday night game on Labor Day. Argos and Cats. Jamel Robertson. He wanted a face mask call. No penalty flag. Kerry Joseph has been the star of the show for the Argos here tonight.
You see Kerry Joseph's numbers thus far in the season. Not outstanding, but this is a game where all eyes were going to be on him. As on one hand, Kerry Joseph could relax a little bit with the departure of Michael Bishop, but on the other hand, it creates that much more pressure because people are going to question, did they trade the right guy? Did they keep the right guy? But Kerry Joseph is proving, and Michael Bishop proved with the victory on the weekend, that the move is working out for both of them so far.
From his goal line, takes a lick. Ball up for grabs. Was it caught? They're saying no. Chris Thompson was there, and it was about this time, or last time they met, where the Hamilton defense got to Kerry Joseph and forced him to cough up the football.
There was a couple of interceptions in the last meeting between these two teams that turned the game around, one by Markeith Knowlton and one by Chris Thompson, who almost came up with the ball here. 3 defenders converge. You're going to watch on the left. Watch Ryan Glasper, the free safety, because he got up very slowly after this one.
And they are saying that Thompson made this catch. And they are saying it is an interception. Just, very similar interception to the last time when these two teams met. Remember, Markeith Knowlton had one for a touchdown, then Thompson later.
Yeah, Thompson had one where there was debate over whether he had intercepted the ball or not.
And they're going to challenge that. What did you think based on that replay? At first I thought just a no catch. That's what the official originally signaled.
Well, it looked like he might have still been bobbling the ball as he hit the field. But as soon as he touches the field, he was down by contact, because I believe it was Bethel Johnson, the Toronto receiver. They were entangled. So he was down right away. So if it came loose after he was on the ground, it's irrelevant. You see, Chris Thompson doesn't catch this ball cleanly.
Challenging the ruling on the field of an interception. We'll review the play.
Oh, boy. Looks like he has it here. Has it there.
And as soon as, it's a question of whether the ball comes out before basically any part of Chris Thompson other than his hands or feet touch the ground. Because as soon as some other part of him touches the ground and Bethel Johnson's in contact with him, he's down by contact.
If the Argos win this challenge, Bethel Johnson gets a lot of credit here, because that would have been a clean pick probably. Andre Proulx once again under the hood. We've had a lot of video review here tonight. Five and a half minutes to go. We had not had an interception if this stays as a pick until that one. Quarterbacks have done a good job protecting the football. No fumbles. Really a game from the outset. Two teams that have looked like desperate football teams. They've been pretty good at answering each other. Punch, counter punch.
Well, you expect a playoff atmosphere on Labor Day between these two teams, regardless of the records.
Upon review, the receiver did not maintain possession of the ball when he hit the ground. Therefore, the pass is incomplete. It will be third down, 11 yards to go from the 13-yard line.
Well, the Argos will like that call. Now the Cats could get very good field position here again. Bethel Johnson did a terrific job. Otherwise, Chris Thompson has the football.
And Bethel Johnson's fighting off two other Hamilton defenders to try and wrestle that ball free from Chris Thompson.
So you see Vanderjagt in his end zone. A lot of times we would see a kicker go back, give up 2 points. But the math is an 8-point lead right now. He kicks it away. Hamilton gets good field position. 5.5 to go, and that can be an eternity in the Canadian Football League. What do you do as a coach here?
Well, this is one of those moments where I'm glad I'm not a coach. But in this situation, I'm going to give up the safety.
Andre Proulx going back again, and so sure this has to do with the placement of the football.
The previous line of scrimmage was the 11-yard line.
There it is.
I'll tell you what was very interesting to me about that challenge. It sure looked like Pinball Clemens told Rich Stubler to throw the flag. It was right beside him at the time, and it looked like Pinball might have been getting some congratulations over there after the ruling was overturned.
Well, he was on the sideline a year ago. Now upstairs. And that's what he will do. It looked like he was ready to kick that ball. We'll eat up a couple seconds. Vanderjagt eating up some more of the clock, and 2-point safety on the board now for the Cats. makes this now a 6-point game with 5 minutes to go. Well, the NFL season kicks off Thursday. TSN has live coverage. Redskins travel to New York to take on Eli Manning and the defending Super Bowl champion Giants. Live coverage, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, available on TSN HD. Also, U.S. Open tennis that night on TSN 2. Big night in the Big Apple. And some more conversation here on the sideline. Speaking of the NFL, some cuts. John Ryan, Regina kicker, released by the Green Bay Packers today.
Yeah, John Ryan, who led the Canadian Football League in punting.
Holding. Toronto 43. A 10-yard penalty will be applied on the next point of scrimmage.
Well, that will help the Tiger Cats as well.
Ryan had led the CFL in punting when he was with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Had a fantastic final season there before he went down to Green Bay. Bit of a surprise move from the Packers. But no doubt John Ryan, who is a CFL free agent, but no doubt he'll be exploring all his NFL options before he thinks about coming back north. These are a couple teams that have been watching the NFL final cuts very closely.
Now under 5 minutes, Jesse Lumsden. Lumsden got tripped up. Otherwise, that was a big gain. We have not seen much of Jesse Lumsden in this second half.
Well, Lumsden was a shoestring away from a big one there, but doesn't take anything away from the success they've had. The combination of Terry Colley and Jesse Lumsden, as we see this dynamic duo together for the first time this season. They've been very effective. 234 rushing yards. Saw Jeff Piercy chipping in there as well. We've seen Casey Printers using his legs as a weapon also in this offense tonight.
Right up the middle again for a first down. Well, the best run offense against the worst run offense in the CFL, the Toronto Argonauts.
Well, you wonder why the Argos retooled their defense during the bye to be, in theory, a little bit better equipped to stop the run. The physical, downhill, run supporting Kenny Wheaton at safety, playing with 4 and 5 defensive linemen on the field a lot of the time. The numbers say it all. Their 5 losses, they've been beaten badly on the ground. Their 3 wins, they've managed to control teams.
Trying to control this guy, Lumsden. Helmet to helmet there. And Mike Walker brought in. This defense primarily a 30 offense, a 3-4 set. Seen a lot of 4-down linemen tonight for the Argos, trying to contain that Hamilton running game.
Hamilton still finding ways to run the ball. No doubt creating all sorts of headaches for defensive coordinator Kavis Reed. He and Rich Stubler spent a lot of the bye week huddled up, figuring out exactly how they were going to rework this defense.
Lumsden again. Plows ahead. That will bring us to the 3-minute warning. Cats eating up some of the clock. They trail by 6. CFL on TSN, brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, the Canadian how-to people. So a big down coming up here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2nd down and 6. Jesse Lumsden on the field. You give him the ball. Do you go to the air? Get a field goal here. Makes it closer. Argos ahead 6 points. Look out now. Printers lets it go. And unable to haul it in was Pat Woodcock. So now Nick Setta comes in and will attempt a longish field goal. Pull his team within 3 points.
A critical situation here. You're going to see Toronto brings the heat. Kenny Wheaton, the free safety, comes down low. He's in the box. They outnumber the Hamilton blockers. That means Wheaton's got a free run. Forces a rush throw and affects the trajectory with that hit on Casey Printers. So it goes just beyond the outstretched arms of Pat Woodcock.
This really is a must-make now for Urseta. 2:36 to go. And he does exactly that from the 43-yard line, and it's now 34-31 Toronto. And now Charlie Taft will ask his defense to come up big. So after the Labor Day, really the official midway point of the season, next week, Wendy's Friday Night Football, a rematch of today. This time in Edmonton, Calgary against the Eskimos. Edmonton winning earlier today. That's Wendy's Friday Night Football this week. KC Printers on the blower right now. Talking to Marcel Belfay. Looking to get the football back. And can Kerry Joseph eat up some of this clock now? 2:31. Get a couple first downs and seal it.
The Argos go into that double tight end formation.
Dorsey. Ball came loose, didn't matter. Whistle went. So now a big down for the Argos here.
The Argos sent the clear message that they wanted to try and run the football and control the clock that way, keep the ball on the ground, low risk with that double tight end formation. But now, still remaining in a second and long situation, they might have to put it in the air.
From near their 39, Joseph tucks it, takes it, first down. Big play by Kerry Joseph.
Well, this is just a great decision by Kerry Joseph. This is recognition of the situation. It's not a case where there are absolutely no receivers that he could possibly throw to, but Joseph knows he can pick up the first down without throwing the ball. So rather than try and force it or try and create something that's not there, keeps the ball on the ground, because given the situation in the game, that's what's most beneficial to his team.
Looking as comfortable tonight as he did last season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But that time knocked down. Arland Bruce wisely picks that up. But it didn't matter, it was whistled down.
Well, Terrence Patrick, the defensive end, is the man who recognizes the play and comes free to get his hands up. They've seen this swing screen to Bruce a few times before, so he knows it's going out wide. Good heads up, as you said, though, Rod, by Arland Bruce. That's a lateral. A live ball, or the possibility that it is. So better safe than sorry. You always play it.
Dorsey behind Joseph. One of the biggest offensive plays for the Argos tonight. Over the middle. And now Toronto will have to kick it away with 1:41 to go. Hang on tight here.
Hamilton got back to running that football on their last series when they needed to drive and set up that field goal from Nick Seta. The ball was in Jesse Lumsden's hands a lot, and he was having a lot of success. Now as they run the ball, Hamilton's going to have to be very aware of the clock as well. Sideline plays to maybe get out of bounds and stop the clock.
Mike Vanderjack. High snap. Ooh, very close to having it blocked. Bouncing kick, Trey Smith. Nowhere to go, best go down. Clock ticks down to 1:28, and so KC Printers back in the Hamilton Tiger Cat lineup this week. Chance to march his team to victory, or the very least a game-tying field goal.
Well, these are the moments by which quarterbacks are judged. With the game on the line, can you put together that winning drive? KC Printers 9 of 20 on the day. The numbers aren't that impressive. He's got a guy in Danny McManus helping him out on the sidelines, though, who could give a lot of advice. that it doesn't matter what's happened up to this point in the game. Danny was a guy who, regardless of what may have gone on earlier in the game, always gave you a chance to win in clutch situations.
Quick hitter. Pat Woodcock hangs on. And only a few yards that time, so another big play. Second down conversion coming up. One thing that Danny McManus could not do that Casey Printers can, though, is if he's in trouble, get out of it. Take off with a football. Did this guy have a great career? Engineering comebacks as well. Over the middle. Caught! Tony Miles, the former Argo. Biggest catch of the game for the Ticats.
Tony Miles comes on a deep in route. He's going to come from the left side of your screen. Working against the rookie, Jason Shivers, on that play.
Thrown with authority like Casey Printers used to throw in BC. Pinpoint. Lumsden now. Trying to go off the right edge. And a squirt forward. 4 or 5 yards again. So another second down.
Good hard run there from Jesse Lumsden. Moves the ball to the 50-yard line. So right now it would be a 57-yard field goal attempt should they try it. Nick said his longest on the year is 48.
56 seconds left. Printers bobbled it. Michael Fletcher in pursuit. Adriano Belli in pursuit. Gets it off to Lumsden. Head forward, spinning. And he will be stopped just short of a first down. Now let's see what the spot is. From here, it looks like it's short.
Casey Printers does a nice job again here today. What we may call his breakout game of the season, making something out of nothing. Bad snap. But able to scramble and find Jesse Lumsden. Turn it into a positive play.
And a very long yard here. Jason Shivers, again the rookie, stopping Lumsden short. Set his career longest field goal, 53 yards. The guy's got plenty of leg, though. Remember, he played in Notre Dame and was known routinely for some thundering kicks. But right now, this might be too much to ask. And still a lot of time left on the clock. 43 seconds. This injury allows Charlie Taft to also think about what he's going to do here. Charles Thomas is down. Right tackle.
Given the percentages, if I'm Charlie Taft, I'm going to go for the first down here. Try and make this a little bit easier attempt for Nick Seta.
We are going to go to break right now. Injury on the field. Come back with 43 seconds to go in Hamilton.
Sport Check's having a sale.
What am I wearing these rags for?
Let's go to Sport Check!
Sport Check is your back-to-school destination. Buy one, get one 50% off on adult or junior footwear. Take 30% off Converse apparel. Plus, great door crasher deals. Sport Check, the power of sport.
Charles Thomas goes off the field. And if it wasn't the biggest play earlier of the game for Charlie Taft and the Cats, it is now. Third down. And a long yard. The Labor Day Classic in Hamilton. Lumsden and Piercy behind Printers. Piercy gets it, and I don't know. I think they stopped him. They're going to bring the yardsticks out. Again, all dependent on the spot. They tried this play earlier, running Piercy instead of Lumsden, and it worked. I'm not sure it worked this time.
The Argo defensive line got a great upfield push on this one. This might be a generous spot, though. Might benefit the Tiger Cats.
Nope. Nope. They stopped him. And so now, a third down gamble that they went for does not pay off. And earlier in the ball game, when they didn't go for a third down gamble, that also backfired.
Well, you're going to see that dive to Jeff Piercy. Real Johnson, the man who steps up and makes the play.
Nothing against this play call. With Jesse Lumsden in your backfield. You got a long yard. The guy doesn't get stopped very often. I know he's a little bit further back than Piercy, but...
Well, one thing that might have benefited them is with Piercy running to the left side of the formation, if you're giving it to the fullback, in theory, you're taking one blocker out of the play because the tailback's just in the backfield. But Lumsden could have occupied a defender if they had Lumsden go to the same side as Piercy on the play. He could have forced someone to play out wide.
We should tell you, Andre Proulx is under the hood right now. There is a challenge from upstairs. The final 3 minutes, it must come from upstairs. Charlie Taff already has used up his challenges. And this is all about the spot. Imagine that, a video replay on a spot on a third down play. The game hanging in the balance. Here's a happy guy, I'm sure, right now. Just brought in this week, Mike Walker.
Stands. First down, Toronto.
And it stands. And the Argonauts can just seal this one. Hang on to the football. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats had every opportunity. Their defense for the Toronto Argonauts comes up huge. Stuff on a third down. And how big was the play to stop Jesse Lumsden on that second down by the rookie?
Yeah, Jason Shivers came up big, holding Lumsden short. An Argo defense that's been run on all night when it mattered most.
We haven't seen much of this tonight, but you kind of know once this game is now really in the books. Quite frankly, these teams hate each other. If you're an Argo, the only time you like a Tiger Cat is if you get traded to become a Tiger Cat and vice versa. Andre Talbot not happy. They'll just wind this baby down. Well, time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by the 2008 GMC Sierra Professional Grade.
We don't need to look too far back in the game to find the turning point. Hamilton on this drive, looking for the winning field goal, went for it on 3rd and 1. Led by Real Johnson, Willie Pyle. The Argo defense came up with a big stop after having been hurt by the run all game. When it mattered most, they shut it down.
Again, brought to you by the GMC Sierra Professional Grade. A game tonight full of great irony in the fact that the Tiger Cats had a 3rd and inches earlier in the ball game, decided not to go for it, got burned by it. And then later in the game, they were forced to go. They had to go for it, but ended up being stopped. One thing is for certain tonight, though, KC Printers and Kerry Joseph in particular showed that they are back. Joseph never left, of course, just that he had Michael Bishop and the controversy behind him. Joseph showing great leadership here tonight. Well, highlights of earlier today in the Battle of Alberta. Baseball highlights as well as the Deutsche Bank Championship. Darren Detition and Dan O'Toole coming up next. And a recap from here in Hamilton tonight. 59th Labor Day Classic. The 40th meeting between the Cats and the Argos will go to the visitors from down the QEW. And they are marching this off seriously. This is all going against the Tiger Cats. They look like they initiated that brawl.
Frustration starts to show here for the Hamilton defense.
Well, Hamilton's only wins this season coming against the Argos. Could not pull this one out tonight. Will fall to 2-7. The Argos will move to 4-5, second place. And that's huge because the way it's looking, there very well could be a crossover this year. Although, again, 9 games to go. And Rich Stubler. Is that a coach-saving night tonight for the Argos, do you think, Dwayne Ford?
It may be. That seems to be the speculation. Whether it should have been or not, probably not. But the boys came up big for their coach tonight.
For Stubler's sake, he said yesterday there were no thoughts of any pressure he faced, as now one of the things about a Labor Day game is sometimes, especially this is one of the first ever Labor Day night games in Hamilton, quite some time. Some of the people that decided to take it upon themselves to put their own show on. Casey Printers talked yesterday about being frustrated. The fact that he can't be the Casey Printers he was a few years ago.
And it's a very different situation. That's taken Casey a little bit of time to fully recognize that. But in BC, he had the opportunity to sit and watch for a full year before he got to play and got to watch exactly how the offense was supposed to be run with Dave Dickinson at the helm. Here in Hamilton, it's a work in progress, and he's in the middle of it. He doesn't have the opportunity to sit and watch. I think he gained a lot from when he was injured, having the chance to watch Richie Williams, a guy who plays with a little bit more relaxation and does just go out and try to make plays without trying to force things. And we saw that from Casey Printers tonight.
Told us yesterday, though, that, he feels for all the Hamilton fans, and he says he doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants to play this out. He says it's a work in progress. Do everything he can to commit to building a winning team here. But the Argos, Kerry Joseph now, who, like Printers, was in a quarterback shuffle here in Toronto. No longer. This is Kerry Joseph's team, and he showed tonight what he is capable of. The Argos hang on for a 34-31 win. Labor Day, Monday Night Football in Hamilton. Sports Center is next. Good night, everybody.